Do you want to learn how to play your favorite song on the piano, but you don't know what the chords are, and that makes you really sad? Let me turn your frown upside down. I got what you need. Welcome to my channel. Name is House of Jazz, the piano tutorial. Man. What's good, YouTube? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Thank you so much, so much for joining me for another live stream. So definitely appreciate y'all joining us. We're doing these extra live streams for you because you all asked for it. You know what I'm saying? So I like to say thank you to the partner in crime over here, Miss Music Maker, aka D. Was on, she was on here, but she was on here before I was on here. You know what I'm saying? Ready to go. So I definitely appreciate her joining us on the panel, and hopefully throughout the evening we'll have some other people join us. For those of you who are in, it says we got about 9 people in the chat already. Just so that you know, if you don't say hello to us, we will not know that you are there. So please say what's up so that we can say what's up back to you. And we'll do this. We'll just say hello for a couple of minutes, and then we'll jump into what the topic of this stream is supposed to be. And then after that, if we have a panel pop up, then who knows what we're going to talk about. I want to kind of talk about the Clark sisters movie. If people seen it, that's what I'm going to want to talk about. But let's see what we got. We got Mitch Soul. What's going on? Got Ron up in the house. We got Detective Fan Man. Okay. We got Philip Mitchell, and we got Gary Bailey Jr. How all you are doing? How are all of you? I should say. Me try to speak better English.
That's it.
Let me stop this in case we get some of that. How is everyone dealing with the quarantine? It's been we all still locked up in the houses. Hopefully everybody out there is doing okay. For those of you that are joining in because you want to get the lesson on the 9th, 11th, and 13th chords, we will begin that momentarily. Okay, we're going to begin that, just taking a couple of minutes to say hello to everybody, but we will jump into that and go over that. I'm actually going to include major 7th chords in tonight's lesson also. I didn't put it on the name of the room, but we're going to talk about we talked about it a little bit at the last stream, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. Let me see. I got a yo from Nathaniel. Hello from Bronzenet or Brosnet. Ronnie Collins from the Bronx, NYC. What's going on? William Wilson. Hey yo. Detective. Oh, Detroit. Okay, Detective Fan Man is from Detroit. Let me put y'all stuff up on here so everybody can see. Let me give everybody a little shout out there. Let me go back to the top. So that's Mitch Show saying good evening, everyone. Ron is saying what's up, everyone. We got Detective Fan Man. Thanks for doing this. Oh man, it's my pleasure, man. I appreciate y'all supporting. Philip Mitchell, hello all. Gary Bailey Jr. That's my lawyer right there. Y'all don't y'all mess with me. I'm gonna get Gary Bailey Jr. That's my lawyer.
I think he was trying to say that's the Detroit Fan Man, I believe.
Okay. Got you instead of detective. Well, I'm gonna call you detective because this is my stream. Okay, now I'm just playing. All right, Nathaniel said, yo. Rosnet said hello. Ronnie says right from the Bronx. What's up? What's up? William Wilson says, hey yo. And I guess Detroit, my friend, not detective. Okay. Sorry. Well, DET is the is abbreviation for detective, so that's why I said that. My apologies. Jehovah Jireh, my provider, His grace is sufficient for me, for me, for me. I love that song. Hey there. Thanks for sharing your amazing gift with us. Thank you for appreciating it, and thank you for joining me this evening. Difficult times. All right, stay safe, y'all. Definitely that for that. Yeah, everyone stay safe, no doubt. Quarantine sucks, but what can you do? I got you. I heard that. I heard that. Big up from France. Oh, okay, you from France, Nathaniel. All right, man. You from a long way. Gary Barely Green gave us the thumbs up. Sabrina, what's good, fam? What's good right back
Why
at
she
you?
ain't on here?
You have to ask her about that. Why she ain't up on here? And then Ron laughing at me talking about DET. Well, I mean, hey, DET. Last time I checked means detective. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, oh, if you don't say anything, how am I supposed to know? You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully everyone is doing well. I'm assuming. Oh, Sabrina said, taxes, Lord help her.
Ah,
We will all send up a prayer for you, Miss Sabrina, over those taxes. If you need a break from the taxes, just hop on the panel. You already know that you already know how to get on here.
hmm.
We got Mike A from Oakland, California. Always good to see you, Mike A. He's been getting on me since the very first time he ever came into this
Oh
chat
yeah.
room. He,
I
tried-
go back
he,
and look at it, and you be
he- oh yeah. So you found it. So you went and found when I fell asleep, huh? You was like, oh, I gotta
I
find
was
that,
I
huh?
was on there when you fell asleep. I just had to get a
No,
good
you said you
laugh.
looked back. No, you said you looked back, and I'm like, oh, so you went looked back and found it
Oh
again.
yeah, I
That's
had to
what
get
I'm
a good
talking
laugh. I had to get a good laugh. Yeah.
about. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I looked at it too. And I guess what? I laughed really hard when I looked at it again. I looked at it, it was like, whoa, man, nothing but love for you too, Mike A. Jazz sleepy time. Yeah, that's what Mike A said. Ron will not forget that. Ron will not forget that. Ron will not let
But I'm
that
trying
go.
to remember
When
who
he said,
music was it on. It was on somebody music. It just
yeah,
like
it was late, y'all. I ain't get that much sleep. You know what I'm saying? Once again, oh, what's going on? 112 DZ. Make sure I put him up on the screen. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me just say again for those of you who are joining us and you are here to hear the information about the chords, the ninth, 11, and 13th chords. We will be jumping into that momentarily. We're just saying hello to everybody, but we're getting ready to do that really soon. And again, after that, if we get some people to come up on the panel, we're going to just discuss some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he said the track was good. Oh, he's still trying to clown me. Oh, Ron trying to clown me. He said that track is good, but putting Jazz to sleep. I mean, I guess
and
it was
you couldn't
relaxing.
hear us because we kept saying, "Is he asleep?"
Andre was like, is he sleeping? It was funny. For those of you who wondering what we're talking about, basically about a week or 2 weeks ago, I literally fell asleep right here on the live stream listening to the beat. We have a little beat challenge, and I just in the middle of listening to the song, I was done. It was a long day, and right here on the live stream, it's still available. I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I don't know off the top of my head anyway. But it was within the last couple of weeks, and I went to sleep. I mean, I went to sleep.
It seems like you've been doing it every Saturday though. Every time you sit up there
Oh, I
and then
mean,
wake up like you ain't been. That was cool.
why are you trying? See, some people just don't know how to back you up, man. They just want to put you out.
Nothing but love.
I only got caught once, and you trying to get people to go back.
No, it's been
All
more than once.
no,
I
the
started to
only
go
one that I
blink,
got
blink, blink,
caught, the
blink,
only one
blink,
that I
blink,
got,
blink.
no, the only one that I got caught on was just that one. Now the other times I kind of I might have had my eyes closed in the middle of the song, but before the song was over, I was up again. You know what I'm saying? I was up. But the one I got caught was that one track that was playing. And it went off, and I was still like, and then in my headphones, I could hear y'all laughing, saying as he's asleep. I heard that in the headphones, and I'm like, oh crap, I meant to wake up before this thing.
That's what Mike A says, jazz sleepy.
Yeah, sleepy time. uh, oh, I didn't know Jazzy Jeff had the virus. Okay, has been recovered. Oh, okay, that's great to hear. I didn't even hear that he had the virus.
I didn't either. That's
Yeah,
news to me.
yeah. But anyway, now that we're finished laughing at me and
For
talking
now.
about me doing tutorials all day and then coming and doing a long live stream in the evening and everybody want to laugh at me for falling asleep for having a long day because they don't realize all the brain it takes to learn songs and all that stuff and to sit down and then go from learning songs to doing live streams, long live streams, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Let me just remove. I'm getting a little interference in here. Let me see if I can remove it. There we go. The interference is now gone. Yeah, the interference is now gone. There goes Nisha. What's up, Nisha? That's my sister from another mother and father. What's going on, Nisha? Good to see you up in here. Gerald, always pleasure to see you. Ready to
Acoustic
learn.
Austin. See, he
Is not sleeping. He's just resting his eyes. See, this is somebody that got my back. See, he understands. He get it. He gets it. House of Jazz was not sleeping. I was just resting my. Thank
okay,
you.
so
And what
you
happened is that when the track went off, I was still resting my eyes. And so that's all
with
it
your
was. I
tongue hanging
wasn't
out a
really
little bit.
asleep. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really asleep. I was just still resting my eyes. It may
Okay.
have looked. I just wanted y'all to think I was sleeping. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You know, I was just. I'm just. Hey. But anyway, if
Yeah,
there's
okay.
if there's anybody out there, let me. Yeah, if you have a link to come on the panel and you want to discuss the movie. No, I'm talking. No, I'm talking about something else now. If you
I'm
want to,
not ready for Ron said.
oh, okay, my bad. If y'all want to discuss the Clark sisters movie, definitely, I'm down for that. For after the lesson, again, for those of you that are coming for the lesson, it's about to start. I'm getting ready to start the court lesson now. But if y'all want to, if there's some people that want to come and talk about that Clark sister movie, man, that thing was an eye opener for me. So I'll save it. I'll save my comments for there. But for
Yeah,
now, we're going to go ahead on, and it looks like we got about 27 people up in here. So we're going to go ahead on and in a trance, huh? Just in a trance. Okay, see, I'm still trying to clown me. And let me stop looking at those comments. Let me stay focused. Okay.
that's
Before
why I
I
was
do this,
laughing.
I like to also note and mention right now that if you would like to support the channel, that I do have a Patreon page. If you click the link in the description box of this video right here or any of my tutorial videos, it'll take you to the link for my Patreon. And for a $5 pledge, you will also receive free chord sheets from me. Every time I create a brand new tutorial, you will automatically get that chord sheet for that tutorial emailed to your inbox. So make sure you sign up with the right email address, because some of y'all sign up with fake email addresses. Then y'all come at me saying, I didn't get my chord sheet. And I'm like, well, what's your email address? And it's not what you had down on Patreon. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but definitely that is a great way to support the channel. Again, the way that works is from the moment you sign up. It's like if you sign up tonight, then the very next tutorial that gets released, I will send that chord sheet to you, and it will be, and you don't have to pay anything extra. So that's a great way to support the channel. It's just $5, and the link is in the description. And if anyone that wants to make a one-time donation to the channel, my PayPal link is down there too. Patreon is a monthly subscription, but PayPal, you can just make a one-time donation. And you can also donate using the super chat button right here. So those are three ways, because sometimes a couple of weeks people be like, how can I send you money? Do you have Cash App? I don't have all that, but you can support me using the super chat. signing up for Patreon or a one-time donation via PayPal. With that all said, let's jump into these chords. So I'm going to switch to my keyboard view here. And we're gonna look at these chords. We're gonna look at information about these ninths, these 11ths, and these 13th chords. But what I want to do is I also want to include information about the seventh chords also. Okay, so I'm going to include that information too. So for those of you who've been following the live stream for the last 2 weeks or so, at the beginning of the live streams, I've been giving music theory lessons. Okay, so we started with how to build a major scale, and then from that major scale, how to build a major chord, major seven chord. I think we talked about minor chords, minor seven. Last week I even talked about dominant seven chords, and I think we talked about relative minor, how to figure out the relative minor. We've covered a lot of stuff, so obviously I don't want to go over all that stuff again before I go into tonight's lesson. So if any of this seems to be a little too much or you're not able to follow, it's okay. This video will remain on YouTube. You can always go back and look at the previous live streams. All of the live streams are labeled with what they're talking about. So if, like, the last live stream I did says something about how to build chords or something like that. So all you have to do is just look for it that way and you'll see it. Okay. Now, so the one thing that's important that I do have to review is you have to understand your major scale. Now, we're just going to stick with C major. We're going to stick with C major because it's the easiest way. Everybody should know that in C major, you have no sharps and flats. You start with C and you just go up the keyboard playing all the white notes forever and ever and ever until you run out, right? Okay, now you have to remember that when you're doing your scale, that the first note of the scale is one. So since we're in the key of C, that means C is one. And then you can go on and say two, D is two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And of course, once you hit the octave, you're back at one, or you can also look at it as 8. But what we did not talk about is you can actually keep going. You don't have to go back to 1. So if you want to call this 8, then that means you can call this also 9. This is also 9, 10, although you'll never hear anybody call a chord by a 10 number, but I'm just for purposes of counting. That's 10. This is 11, 12, and then this is 13. Okay, so it's important to understand that, especially for tonight's lesson, because we're going to be talking about 9, 11, and 13 chords. So once again, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay. All right. Now, what you see me playing right now is a C major 13 chord. This is what you would call the full version of the chord. But before we get to that, let me back down to major 7. Now, with the major 7 chord, to build up a major 7 chord, all you have to do is to play the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7 of the scale to make your major chord. So what I'm playing right now is C, E, G, and B. That is the C major 7 chord. Now, what I did not get into on the previous live streams is the fact that you do not have to play every one of these notes for it to still be a major 7 chord. Okay, well, what we call this right here, we're going to call this is like the full chord. Okay, so this is a full major 7 chord. But what happens if you take the 5th note out of that chord? Okay, yeah, you lose the G sound, but guess what? You're still playing a C major 7 chord. The only numbers that you need in a major 7 in the major 7 chord are the 1, the 3, and the 7. You can omit the 5. If you omitting the 5 does not change it to a different chord. This is still a C major 7 chord. Okay, C, E, and B. And then, of course, from here, you can start inverting the chord. So you can take this and say, well, this is a C major 7 chord. Well, what if I take this B right here and I want to play it right here? Guess what? It's still a C major 7 chord, because you can always, and with your left hand, do what? You can put the C in your left hand, right? There you go. It's still a C major 7 chord, okay? So remember that with the major 7 chord, you can omit the 5th note of the scale and still have a major 7 chord. Now, in order for to turn a major 7 chord into a dominant 7 chord, when you hear, if you're looking at my tutorial, sometimes you'll hear me say C major 7, or sometimes you'll hear me just say C7. If you hear me say C7, that's just short for C dominant 7. So all you have to do to make a major 7 chord a dominant 7 chord is to take the seventh note in the scale, and just lower it a half step. Okay, so in the case of C major, that would be C. If we're doing the full chord, which means we're going to include all the letters, all the numbers. That's the C, E, G, and instead of playing the B, we're going to play B flat. Okay, now when you do that, this is called a C dominant 7 chord. On most sheet music, and even on the chord sheets that some of you purchased from me, or some of you receive free because you signed up on my Patreon, you'll literally just see me type C7. I'll just say C7. So when I say C7, I mean that's short for C dominant 7. And guess what? The same rule applies about removing the 5th. If you take the 5th note away and you play just the 1, the 3, and then you play the flatted 7th, you still have a C dominant chord. All right. Let me do this so y'all can see that better, because she turned the camera off anyway. Okay, this way y'all probably can see better. Okay, so you still have a C dominant chord. All right, so there we go. So we got C major 7 as a full chord. 1, 3, 5, 7. Take the 5 away and you still have a major chord. Take the 7th note and flat it. Now you have a dominant chord, okay? Regardless to whether the 5th note is in there or not, okay? So that's dealing with the 7th chord. Now let's get to what tonight's lesson is supposed to focus on. Tonight we're going to look at the major 9th chord, okay? And 11 and 13, but let's go to the major 9 chord. So first, let's look at the full chord first. We're going to look at the full chord using every single note, okay? So we're going to play the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 9. Okay. So just like that right there, what you're seeing me play: C, E, G, B, and D. That is a full straight out root position C major 9 chord. Okay. C major 9. Now, remember with the major 7, I said that you can remove the 5th note. Guess what? The same rule applies on the major 9. You can take the 5th note, which in this case is the G, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. G is the 5th, right? You can remove that. And guess what? As long as you still have this 7th note down, you have to have the 7th down. As long as you have that down, you still have a C major 9 chord with using only 4 notes. And then you can invert this to make it as easy as you want. Like you can invert it and say, well, maybe I'll play the D right here. I don't know who would want to play it that way, but technically you can do it this way. You know what I'm saying? You can do it this way. I don't think I've ever played the C major 9 chord this way, but I'm just saying you can do it that way if you want. Okay. But that's it though. 1, 3, 7, 9. That's all you need. Are you wrong for including the 5? No. You can keep the 5th in there. Don't worry about it. Use the 5th if you want to, but just know that if you remove that 5th, you still have a major 9 chord. But just don't remove the 7th. Okay, don't remove that 7th for any reason unless you're just playing a regular major chord. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing C major, then yeah, get rid of the seventh. Other than that, always play your seventh. Always play the seventh degree. Now let's talk about a C9 chord, which is also a C dominant 9 chord. So let's look at the full chord again, the full chord with all the notes 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The same rule applies for dominant 7. Like when we did the C dominant 7, I said you take the seventh note and you make it flat, right? Well, guess what? When you do that, when you play a C dominant 7 chord and you put the major 9 on top, that's now called a C9 chord. Okay, so this is not C major 9, this is C dominant 9. And all that is, all a dominant 9 chord is the dominant 7 chord, 1, 3, 5, flat 7 with a major 9 on top. Okay, so what I'm playing right here, this is a C dominant 9 chord. Like on sheet music and in my chord sheets, you'll just see this written as C9. Don't get this confused. This is not a C add 9. This is not a C major 9. This is a C dominant 9. Okay. And guess what? You can also remove the fifth. You do not have to play the fifth degree, and it will still be a C9 chord. Okay. C9. Okay. All right. So major 9, dominant 9. Listen to the difference. I'm going to play the major first, and then I'll play the dominant next. Okay, so hopefully your ears was able to hear the difference with that. Okay, dominant 9, major 9. I'm going to remove the fifth, and it's still major 9, dominant 9. Okay, so that's the rules for the ninth chord. Okay, and of course you can invert it. Once you have all your notes, you can remove the fifth and you can invert it and play it any order you want. All you really have to do is just make sure that you keep C in your left hand. As long as your left hand is playing C, you can play those notes in any order you want. You can stretch your fingers out as wide as you can. As you can see, my fingers here's an octave, right? Technically, I can reach the ninth note. I barely can hit the next note. So this is the most my short fingers can do. But some of y'all got some real piano fingers out there. Y'all can do even better stuff. But anyway, okay. So we're going to look at the major 11 chord now. Stand in the key of C because it's just easiest to teach from C. So you got the 1. Now, of course, the major 11 chord is just simply playing the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 11th note of the scale. Okay, so let's do that right now. So we're going for the key of C. This is the first, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the 9, the 11th. Okay, so this is a C major 11 chord. Now let's take a look at, this is the full chord in root position. Okay, this is a C major 11 chord in root position, full out. Okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Now, do you have to play, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, all 6 of these notes? Do you have to play all 6 of these notes? Absolutely not. Once again, you can omit the 5. Okay, so I guess some of y'all are starting to get the point that the fifth is not all that important, right? I mean, it's important, you know what I'm saying, but but for purposes of these chords, you can omit the 5. If you take the fifth note out, guess what? This is still a C major 11. 1, 3, 7, 9, 11. Now, here's the thing with the major 11th chord. There's another number you can remove. Now, with the major 7 chord and with the major 9th chord, the only number you could remove was the 5th. But guess what? Once you get to a major 11th chord, you can also remove, what number you think you can remove? Anybody can guess? Okay, y'all taking too long to say anything. You can remove the 9th. Okay, you can actually remove the 9th note from the C scale, and this would still be a C major 11. So you can play the 1, the 3, the 7, and the 11th only. So you can literally still play a C major 11 chord with just 4 notes, because you are allowed to remove the 5th, which is the G in this case, and the 9th, which is the D in this case. Now, to make this a C11 chord, which is short for C dominant 7, it's still the same rule. All you have to do is to take the 7th note, the 7th note of the scale, and flat it. Once you do that, you now have what is called a C dominant 11. And what we usually call it, we just say C11. Okay. This is not to be confused with the C major 11 chord. This is not C major 11. This is C dominant 9. I'm sorry, I said 9, didn't I? I meant to say C dominant 11. All right. All right. Now, same rule. You do not have to have the 5th scale degree. You do not have to play the G, and you do not have to play the D. Okay. The G is the 5th note of the C scale, and D is the 9th note of the scale. You can remove both of those notes and play just the C, the E, the B flat, which in this case is the dominant 7 of the scale, and just throw an 11 on top of it. Now, once you have this chord, you can invert these notes any way you want. You can play them in any order you want. As long as your left hand is on C, you're straight. You can invert, play it how whatever fits your fingers, because we all have different size hands and fingers, right? All right, so that's it. Now we're going to look at the 13th chord. Now the major 13 and the dominant 13 chord. Okay, basically the same rules, y'all. Basically the same rules, but there's an extra note that you can take out. With the major 11th chord, you were able to remove the 5th and the 9th and still consider it a major 11th. With the major 13th chord, you can remove the 5th note, the 9th note, and the 11th note. You can remove all 3 of those notes and play only the 1, the 3, the 7, and the 13th. You can play just those 4 notes, and it will still be considered a 13th chord. Let's take a look at C13. Let's look at the full chord first, okay, with every note played. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay. So let me call out those letters. That's C, E, G, B as in boy, D as in dog, F, and A. Okay. So what we will call this is a full major 13th chord. Okay. Full major 13th chord. And like I said before, I showed you this chord, you can remove the 5th note of the scale, which in the key of C is what? G. Take that G away. Guess what? This is still a major 13th chord. You can take away the 9th note of the scale, which is what? D. You can take D away, and guess what? It's still a major 13th chord. You can also take the 11th note away. In this case, the 11th note is F. Take the F away. Guess what? This is still a C major 13th chord. All right. With just 4 notes, you still have a C major 13th chord. And you should already know how this works. And what do you have to do to turn this into a C dominant 13 chord? Is only one thing. It's the same thing we had to do all the other times. You take the 7th note, and you flat it. Once you flat it, now you have a C 13 chord. Okay, so this which is short for C dominant 13 chord. You know what I'm saying? So there we go. So major 13th, C13 dominant 13. Okay. Now, once you have your notes and you figure out your notes, again, you can, instead of playing this E down here, You might say, I'd rather play the E up here. All you got to do is just make sure you, in your left hand you have C. So if you play the E up here, guess what? You still have a C dominant 13 chord. And if you take this B flat and go ahead and play the major 7, guess what? You're back at the C major 13 chord. So major 13, dominant 13. Listen to the difference. Major 13, dominant 13. Okay? So it's that easy. Now here's the thing. You still have to learn all your scales in every key to be able to do that in every key, because you need to be able to figure out those chords in every key. Now, again, that was C major. Everybody knows the scale for C major already. Everybody already know that C major is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, let me show you, for those of you that didn't come in the very first time, some people get confused and say, I thought that there's only 8 notes, like 7 different notes. So how are you counting 9, 11, and 13? Let me show you how to count the 9, 11, and 13 again. So if you're starting on C, right? We're doing key of C. If C will be 1, D is 2, E is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what we're going to do is we're going to extend. We're going to extend the scale. Where instead of going back to 1, you can just call this octave, okay? You can call this 8, you can call this octave, okay? But it's easier to call it 8 for what we're trying to do here. So call this 8. I know we're back on C, so call that 8. So then when you come here, this is going to be 9, okay? This is your 9th scale degree. Yeah, but I thought it was the second scale. Yeah, it is the second one. The second scale degree is also known as the 9th scale degree. Okay, then you can keep going. 10, you'll never call a chord by 10. We're just counting it just for counting purposes, okay? Then right here, this is 11. Okay, that would be your 11. So that means F is your 11th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yes, it's the 4th note of the scale. But if you're counting from using odd numbers only, if you're counting using the odd numbers only, 1, 3, 5, you notice that you skipped over the F, right? You skipped over the F. So if you keep going odd, eventually you'll land on the F. Okay. And when you land on the F, it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay. And of course, G will be 12. There's no, you're not going to call any note 12. We're just calling it 12 just for now, which means A is the 13th. Okay, so that's how you count that. When you're dealing with extended chords, that's what these are. Once you get to like the major 9, the major 11, and the major 13th chords, those are called extended chords. They are extended. You're just extending the chords. And once you get there, that's when you add those extra numbers. Okay, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then you're back on 1 again. Okay, then you're back on 1 again, which is C. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that numbering, and you understand counting it like that, so that you know this is very important that you understand that. Okay, then once again, once you have that, then you can build the chords. That's when you can build your major 9th chord, your major 11th chord, your major 13th chord, and you can form the dominant versions of all of those chords by simply making sure that you flatten the 7th note of the scale. Whatever that 7th note is, whatever key you're in, just flatten the 7th note. And I don't care if you're playing a major 13th, once that 7th note is flattened, is dominant. Okay, it's dominant. All right. So we'll take a look. Let's take a look at it in another key. Okay, we looked at it in C major. Let's take a look at it now. The key of F only has 1 flat in it. So let's take a look at it in the key of F. So in the key of F, we have F will be 1. And this is 3, 5, 7, 9. And those of you who know your F scale, you know that B flat is a part of the scale. So that's the 11, 13, and then you're back at 1 again. Okay, so take a look at that again. 1, skip over 2 and just say 3. Just skip every other note of the scale. That's the best way I can explain it. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. B flat is a part of the F major scale. So that's 11, 13. Then you're back at 1 again. Okay, so now that we got that, then we know that the 1, 3, 5, that's your major chord, right? We know that. So that's an F major chord. Okay. Then if you take the 1, 3, 5, and 7th note, you have what? F major 7, right? Okay, F major 7. Now remember, you can remove the 5th note and it still will be considered a major 7 chord. So what's the 5th note? 1, 3, 5, C. So take C away. If you take C away, this is still a F major 7 chord, okay? Okay, now what do we have to do to turn this into a F7 chord, which is a dominant 7 chord? You take the 7th note and you flat it. Okay, so you take that 7th and flat it. Once you do that, you now have an F dominant 7, and we just simply call that a F7 chord for short. Okay, regardless to whether you have the 5th note playing or not. Okay, it's still a F dominant 7, whether you have the 5th note or not. Okay, let's go back to the major for a second. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's major 7. That's F major 7. Now let's add the 9th scale degree, which is G. So now we have a F major 9, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now we have an F major 9. Now you can remove, once again, you can remove the 5th note. So the 5th note is C, right? 1, 3, 5. Remove it. You can oh no, that's it. That's the only one you can remove. I'm sorry. For a major 9 chord, that's the only one you can remove. Remove that, and you still have a F major 9 chord. If you want to turn this into an F9 chord or an F dominant 9, I should say, take the 7th note, which is the E, and flat it. Now you have what is called an F9 chord. I play F9 chords on so many of my tutorials, it's not even funny. So this is like basically a root position F9 chord if I play it. And a lot of times, is that how I play it usually? I usually play it like this. This is how I usually play it. But I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, let me go back to how I just had it. Okay. Major 9. Hold up. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And then F9. And then again, you can remove the 5th, okay? All right, so dominant 9, major 9, okay? Now we're going to look at the F major 11 chord. So you got the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. B flat will be 11. Again, you have to know your major scales to know that B flat is a part of the F major scale. So this is major 11. Okay, this is the full chord. This is with every note. Once again, you can remove the 5th note. Take the C away. Guess what? This is still a F major 11 chord. But with the major 11, you can also take the 9th note away. The 9th note is this G, right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. This is the culprit, right? So take that away. What do I got? 3, 5, 7, 9. Got confused there for a second. All right, so you can take the 5th and you can take the 9th away. You take that away and you still have a F major 11 chord by just playing F, A, E, and B flat. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want this to be a F11 chord, also known as a F dominant 11 chord, take the 7th note and flat it. So now you have an F11 chord, okay? F11, major, and F major 11. And of course, if you add the 13th note, which would be D, now you have a F major 13 chord. Okay, F, A, C, E, B flat, and D. Or you can also play the G. Let me show it to you the full way. So this is the full. That sounds pretty too. You can do something with that chord. But anyway, okay, so that's the full chord. And again, you can remove the fifth note, which is C. Take that away, guess what? It's still a major 13th chord. You can take away the ninth note, which is the G. Take the G away. It's still a major 13th. And you can also take the 11th away, which is the B flat. Take the B flat away. This is still an F major 13 chord. And of course, if you need an F13 or F dominant 13, take the 7th scale degree, make it flat. Now you got an F13 chord. And of course, once you figure out the notes that's in that chord, you can invert the notes any way you want to make it fit. Okay. So that's it. So we looked at it in the key of C. We looked at it in the key of F. I'm going to do one more key. I'm going to show you all those chords in one more key. We'll do A flat because A flat has 4 flats in it. So before we do it, let's look at the actual A flat major scale. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What did I do? 14. I did something wrong there. Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, no, I didn't do anything wrong. What am I talking about? And then, no, I was right. I'm right. And 15 is real. There's no such thing as 15. There's no such thing as 14. Actually, you just go back to the 1. Okay. So your A flat major chord is going to be 1, 3, and 5, right? 1, 3, and 5, right? So that's an A flat major chord. Okay, I think most of y'all probably know that this is an A flat major chord. Now, if you want to make this a major 7 chord, you add the 7th scale degree. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, so you got A flat, C, E flat, G. Now you have an A flat major 7. Okay, you are allowed to remove the 5th note. So if you take the E flat away, guess what? You still have an A flat major 7 chord. If you take the 7th scale degree, which is the G, and you flat it, you now have an A flat dominant 7 chord, also known as the A flat 7 chord. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the major. All right. So let's go back to major 7. Okay. So you got the 1, 3, 5, 7. Let's add the 9th, which will be B flat. Okay. So now we have an A flat major 9 chord. A flat major 9. A flat, C, E flat, G, and B flat. Okay, so there you go. That's the full chord. That's using every note. Once again, you can take the 5th note away, which is the E flat. Take the E flat away. You still have an A flat major 9 chord. That's the only note you can take away. And if you take the 7th scale degree, which is this G, and you lower it a half step, you now have an A flat 9 chord. Okay, so major 9, dominant 9. Okay, all right, same formula, right? Okay, now let's go back to the major, and let's go to the major 11 full chord. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then the 11. Here we go. Okay, so this is the A flat major 11. This is the full chord using all the notes. A flat, C, E flat, G, B flat, D flat. That's the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So A flat major 11. Once again, you can take the 5th note away, which is the E flat. Take it away. Did I get that right? It's still an A flat major 11. Okay. Take it away. If you take the, you can also take the 9th note away. If you take the 9th note away, you still have an A flat major 11 chord. Okay, the ninth is the B flat. Okay, the ninth note is the B flat. Take that away, and all you play is the A flat, the C, the G, and the D flat. This is still a A flat major 11 chord. Now, once again, if you take the seventh note, which is G, and you lower it a half step, you now have an A flat what? 11 chord. Major 11, dominant 11. Okay. Y'all starting to understand how the formula work. The formula will work, but you have to know your all your scales to be able to build it. I'm teaching you how to build your chords so that you don't have to necessarily open up a chord book if you're looking at my chord sheet like, well, hold up, what's that? Where's my book? Oh, I can't find my chord book. No, I'm teaching you right now. This is how you build the chord. You can build that chord without that chord book. So there's one more. I need to show you A flat 13, A flat major 13, and A flat 13. So let's go back. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay. So this is the full straight up A flat major 13 chord. A flat, C, E flat, G, B flat, D flat, and F. That's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Once again, you can remove the fifth note. Take away the E flat. That's the fifth note. This is still a major 13. You can also remove the ninth note, which is the D flat. Take that away. Guess what? This is still the 13th. The ninth note is actually, I'm sorry, the ninth note is actually B flat. I'm sorry. Take the B flat away. Remove the ninth. This is still an A flat major 13. And then this right here, the D flat is the 11th note. You can take that note away. You take that away, and guess what? You still have a A flat major 13 using only 4 notes. And then from here, if you want to turn this into a A flat dominant 13, or as we say, A flat 13, all you do is you take the seventh note and flat it. That's it. Once you flat it, there you go. You have an A flat 13 chord. All right. Um, I'm going to stop there because it's going to, I mean, it'll be boring if I just show it to you in every single key. But the thing is, this is the reason why I say you have to learn your scales, all 12 scales. Once you learn all 12 scales, you can build chords while sitting at the piano. You won't have to open up one book to figure it out. You can, if you're looking at some sheet music, or let's say you bought a chord sheet from me, and it says something on there, and you're like, hold up, I'm not familiar with that chord. Let me just build it. Instead of you grabbing for that chord book, say, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Let me just build the chord myself. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to get y'all to, learn, trying to get y'all to understand, you know what I'm saying? Build the chord yourself. It's not as hard as you think, but you do have to put some work in. You do have to know your scale in every key. So before I end this lesson, I will one more time give you the formula. Give me a second here. The formula for building a major scale. Okay. The W's that you see on the screen right now represents whole steps, and the H represents half steps. So whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay. If you don't know the difference between a whole step and a half step, is real simple. Let's say we want to, we'll start on key of C. A half step is when you move to the very next available note on the piano. So that means you cannot skip over a note. So what's the very next note to C? Is it D? No, that's not the very next note. The very next note is what? Is it this the next note? Okay, so when you move like that, that is called a semitone, okay? In music, we call that a semitone. We also call that a half step, okay? Half step. Now, when you move from your first note and you skip that note and you go to the very next note, we just call that a tone, okay? Also known as a whole step, okay? So that's a half step, whole step, okay? So that's the difference between whole step and half steps. Now, take a look at the formula, right? That's right here. I'm trying to point to it. Look at that formula. To build a major scale, You got whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay, so let's take a look at the key of C. Although we already know what the C major scale is, but let's look at it using this formula. So you start with C. Okay, you on C. The first thing we're supposed to do is what? A whole step, right? So we're going to skip this note and go here. That's whole step, right? Then you have to make another whole step. Then you got to do a half step, right? Remember, E to F is a half step because there is no black note. So E to F is a half step, right? Then you got to do a whole step, another whole step. So you skip that note, do another whole step. So skip over that note. And then you end it with a half step. Okay, so that's whole, half, whole, whole, half. That works in every single key. I don't care whatever major scale you're trying to figure out, whether it's C major, C sharp, or D flat, D, E flat, E, F. Just follow that. Okay, and let me show it to you in one other key, and then I'm going to stop because I don't like when you teach too much, sometimes people get confused. So, but you do need to know this. You really do need to know your scales. So, so let's go to A flat. We're in the key of A flat now. To build your major scale from there, you from A flat, you want to move a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, then half step. There you go. That's your A flat major scale. You can do that with any key. You can start on any note on this piano, follow that formula. You have your major scale. Once you have your major scale, that's when you assign numbers. You mentally put the numbers on every note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Don't worry about 14 and be back on 1 again. Once you do that, you can start building your chords. Whew. They like, man, that was a whole lot of information. So hopefully, let me switch back to this and let me switch my camera back. That's going to be the end of the actual theory portion of this. What I would like to do is to take a minute and see if there are any questions. So if you have any questions, I'm looking about anything that I just taught. Let me be specific. I'm looking for any questions on what I just taught. I'm looking now. House of Jazz. Which scales form all the 12 scales? Are they from C to B, including all the sharps, or do some include the flats? That causes me confusion. I'm not understanding I don't understand your question, Lorato. You said which scales form all the 12 scales. I don't understand your question, but what I can tell you is that you can figure out all 12 scales using that formula that I just had up on the screen. This formula right here, and I just demonstrated, 2 different times. Start what you can start on any note you want to start on. You can close your eyes and just put your finger on a note. Open your eyes, and once you open your eyes, you can just go whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, and half step after that. Okay, someone is repeating the message to me. Hey, Jazz, are you aware that the Count, he is the one of the top beat makers on social media right now. He credits you a lot for learning keys. Just thought you should know. Now, I've never heard of him before, but that's good to know. I'm glad that there's people. I know there's one hip hop artist named Kibo, and we wound up doing a collab recently. We did LL Cool J, I Need Love. And the reason how I met him is because he shouted me out on Instagram of saying that he learned a lot from me. And now we're kind of like friends or whatever. And so it's kind of cool that there's somebody else out there, the Count. I'll have to check him out. Is that his name on Instagram? I'm talking to you, Journeyman. Is that his name on Instagram? If that's his name, I'll type it in and see if I can find him. Rocky M. Yes, I am from Baltimore. It's funny that a gentleman that who also goes by the name Rocky that shows up in this chat a lot of times. He's actually from Baltimore too. So Yes, I am Baltimore. Um, I'm trying. I don't see any more. I don't see any questions. D or Brandy, did y'all have any questions? Oh, first of all, hello, Brandy, redhead. And did you have any questions?
Don't forget the fingers. The no thumbs.
First of all, no, I don't have any questions. It was good teaching. And
Okay.
I am not red. It's actually purple.
Purple. Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, my bad. She's royalty, y'all. Royalty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The royalty. Read mine above. It's kind of hard to scroll up. You can just copy and paste it again. Do you know how it's like a lot of messages? Why would playing each note in the same octave be an inversion of a 13th? I don't understand that. I don't understand your question. I already showed you that you don't have to play every single note, and I already explained that you can invert the note. I said you can play those notes. I said once you discover which notes make up the chord, the only notes that you need to use. Already said that as long as your left hand is on the root, you can arrange what's on your right. I said you can arrange that in any order you want, as long as all those notes are there. Which is, once you can do that. I never said that you had to play it that way. I said you can arrange them anyway. But what you have to do is you build the chord first, then you can let's say if you're talking about a major 13th chord, you build the 13th chord first, then you can remove the fifth note, you can remove the ninth note, you can remove the 11th note. Now whatever notes you have left, I said that you can take, and as long as your left hand is on the root, you can rearrange those notes on your right hand anyway. I don't care how you can arrange it, as long as you're using those notes, that chord remains the same. So hopefully that answers your question. So C in the same octave will be all the notes to the. I'm not understanding the question. Fan man, I'm not understanding. It's real simple. Let me just show this. I'll show the C. Let me show the C major one more time. Hold on, y'all. I'll bring y'all back in a second. All right. Switch the camera. Yeah, I'm not understanding. So let me just break it down. I'm just gonna look at the C major 13 chord, and that's it. Just the C major 13 chord. Okay, once again, build your chord first. This is what I'm saying. You build the chord first. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Build your chord first. Okay, now that you have the chord built, now you have to figure out what are the notes that you have to have in out of all these notes. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 different notes. So now you need to figure out what notes you absolutely positively have to have in order for this to stay a major 13 chord. And I already said you can remove the fifth note. So you can get rid of the G. You don't have to have the G. You can get rid of the ninth note. That's the F. Get rid of the F. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get rid of the. Okay, get rid of the ninth note. D is the ninth, and then get rid of the F. That's the 11th, right? So the only notes that you have to have to make a C major 13 chord, those only notes are C, E, B, and A. Now, once you identify that, you can take this E that's down here and you can play it up here. Now, as long as your left hand is playing C, you have a C major 13. But if you want to, you can take this B right here and you can play the B right here. If you play the B right here, guess what? You still have a C major 13. Or if you want to, you can say, well, I'd rather take this E and I'd rather play it right here. Okay, guess what? This is still a C major 13 chord. And you might say, well, what if I want to take this A and I want to play it right here? Okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, as long as you have these 3 notes, the B, the E, and the A, and as well, let me start with, as long as you have the root in your left hand, which is C, as long as you have that in your left hand, you can take these 3 notes and you can play them in any order, any combination you want. I don't care. Any combination, it's still going to be major 13. And if you take in the seventh note, which is B, and you flat it, it's still going to be a dominant 13 chord. I don't care how you arrange it up here. The key thing is to make sure that you have the root on your left hand. As long as you have that root on your left hand, you're straight. Okay, so hopefully that cleared up your question. I'm going to switch back now and bring the ladies back. All right, let me see. Cool, thanks. Sorry to drag it out. This makes more sense than previous education. Oh, well, that's cool. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why I did the live stream, so it's all good. Yeah. Mhm. This one's cool. It's for rock and roll. I'm not really a rock and roll player, Dizzy Storms, so I don't really play rock and roll. So I'm definitely not. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that because I don't really play rock songs, so I don't know what they really use. I'm assuming it's the same type of chords that you use in most songs, minus the jazz chords. I don't think they do a lot of the jazz extended chords, but your major chords, I'm sure they do major seven. I'm sure they do use dominant chords and stuff like that. Um, but I honestly, I don't know the true answer to your question about what they use in rock and roll. I can't say it because I don't play rock and roll like that, so I don't know. Does the bass note dictate the chord? Yes, the bass note is the root. So whatever you're playing, so yes, whatever you have as your root, that's going to be the base of your chord. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So yes, yeah, your bass note is the root. Bless you too, William Wilson. I didn't see any other questions. The two identity notes of a chord are the third and the seventh. Basically, yes. That's the short of it. That is correct. The two, the three and the seventh. You always have to have the three and the seventh. As long as you have the third and you long as you have the seventh scale degree, then the rest of like if you want a major nine chord, just make sure you have the ninth in there. If you want to have a major 11th chord, make sure you have the 11th in there. And if you want to do a major 13th chord, make sure you have the 13th up in there. What's going on, MIDI man? What's up, man? Was glad you was able to pop in. We just got finished the lesson. I know you're a theory man yourself, man. We just got finished our chord lesson for this evening, man. Um for anyone that may have tuned in to this live stream and you did not catch it from the beginning, all the information, if you look at the title of the video is called, there is a lot of background noise. Let me see, is it you? No. Hey, D, you got something type of noise going on back there? I didn't hear it at first, but now it's
Oh, probably do.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, woo, okay. All right. If you're just joining in, and for those of you that want to come on the panel that have a link and you want to start discussing the Clark Sisters or others, the Clark Sisters movie or other things, feel free to jump on the panel now. But for those of you that tuned in and you're looking for the lesson, we did I already finished the lesson. Once this live stream is over, all you have to do is give YouTube some time. It takes them a couple of minutes to process the video. They pop the video back up and the lesson is there. Okay. So if you're joining me late, you're late. Don't worry about it. Look, somebody just said they late. Don't worry about it. I'm not taking the video down. You can join us later. Okay. Well, you can look at the video later from the beginning and you'll get the entire lesson. Okay. So don't worry about it. Okay, I have another question. My question is, are we looking at major scales for the following keys? Or do we exclude keys with no if for all keys? Well, what I just showed you work for every single key. What I just showed you is for every single key. You have to, first of all, you have to know what the scale is for whatever key. I don't care. It's all 12. Let me say this, all 12 keys on the piano. Okay. What I just taught you work for all that. The first thing you have to know is the scale for whatever key you're in. Whatever key you're in, you have to know the scale. Okay. Once you know the scale, then you can begin to build the chord. Okay, and you build the chord. I literally just, I just spent a whole lot of time showing that, talking about that So I'm not going to go back into that again, but you do what you got to do to build your chord. And then once you do that, you can start eliminating notes from that chord and it will still be considered that chord. Okay. You can remove the fifth. If it's a major 11th, if it's a major ninth chord, you can remove the fifth. If it's a major 11th chord, you can remove the fifth and the ninth. And if it's a major 13th chord, you can remove the fifth, the ninth, and the 11th. Okay. And like I said, all you have to do is just look at the video. But I don't want to reteach it all over again. We already spent oh man, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this. So this was a good lesson. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely, this is, definitely go back, check it out. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Is there any other questions? Good job to you. Oh, thank you, D Scroggins. I appreciate that, man. Let me see. Mike A said, I know the bass note dictate the chord, but what confuses me is when someone plays a slash chord. It shouldn't be confusing. I mean, if they're playing a slash chord, that means you whatever the chord, let's say they're telling you to play A major over C sharp. Then there's nothing to be confused about. That means all that means is with your right hand, play a A major chord, and with your left hand, play C sharp. I'll zoom in real quick. Let me go back to. I guess I better keep this. I thought I was done with this angle, but let me. I'll bring y'all back in a second, guys. So like if you're in if you're looking at a slash chord, right, and it says play A major over C sharp, okay, they go at A major chord, right? A, C sharp, E. Now if it says play A slash C sharp, that just simply means put C sharp in the bass. That's all. It's nothing. There's nothing to get confused about. Just do what it says. Just whatever it tells you to do. If it says, "Hey, put this over this," then do it. Okay. If you're playing, if they say play E flat slash F, that means play an E flat major chord. I'm gonna do an inverted one. Well, I'll do it in root positions for those. I don't want. I'll say so. Play an E flat major chord, right? E flat, G, B flat. Slash F. Okay, put it over F. Then you got E flat over F. See what I'm saying? That's all you have to do. So don't get confused with slash chords. Just do what it says. Whatever it says, do it. I'm gonna keep this angle and make sure. Um, is there a secret to playing talk music? I don't think there's really a secret to it because anything that's smooth and mellow can be talk music. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. I guess the secret would be to not play this. You might not want to play that doing talk music. If everything is real soft and they trying to usher in the spirit in a different way and they trying to encourage people to maybe give their life for Christ, you don't want to just go. I mean, you don't want to start doing all that. So that's the only secret. But I mean, anything soft, to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Just play something real nice and soft. I mean, just anything. I mean, you really could do anything, to be honest with you, but except for. All right. Let me see. Loved it. Thanks. As it relates to the bass, I know a chord chart will tell you it's only when I'm listening to the bass note to find out the chord. Well, see, here's the thing about it. Okay. Just yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I think I did the tutorial for uh my goodness, I do so many tutorials. Not the Stevie Wonder song. The Stevie Wonder song I actually did have sheet music for. I had sheet music for that. I had what's the other song I did yesterday? Oh, As We Lay. I did As We Lay. Now that song I had to figure out by ear, okay, because I couldn't find sheet music anywhere for that song. Couldn't find sheet music. I'll bring y'all back on in a second. I couldn't find sheet music anywhere for that. And yes, as I'm listening to that song, I believe that there were some chords where it was. I know for sure there was a D flat over E flat chord somewhere in there. That just comes with experience, being able to hear that. Sometimes that's just experience. It's like the more you play it, the more you learn songs, and the more you see those type of chords and those type of transitions, you'll hear it, but you just, I mean, I wish I could give you some type of secret to know. There's no real secret. You just have to hear it. You have to be listening closely. I will admit that when I'm picking out a song by ear, if it's just a whole bunch of chords, if it's not a simple song that says 1 3 5, I mean 1 4 5 1, if it's not simple like that and it's just jumping around, I usually load it up into my DAW software. I use Cubase. I'll just put the track up in there, and if it's a chord that I just can't figure out, I will loop that chord. I will set my left and I'll set my right locator, and I'll just let that chord loop, and I will literally zone in and literally try to pick out each note. And usually when I do that, that's when I'll figure out, oh, that's D flat over E flat. But I don't have the secret for it. That's just, you have to hear it. At that point, you have to hear it. Um Okay, I don't see any other questions. I guess I'll come back over. So our panel definitely got a little larger. So I'm supposed to switch my camera back to. Okay. All right. So we are joined with B Major, aka Purple Lady, aka Brandy. And next to Brandy, we have the boys. He's been called a lot of other names. I forgot what he called himself in previous weeks, but today he's just plain old Ron, I guess. Ron Music for Life. We got, then if you slide down, she had to disappear for a second. That's why she lost her place in second place. The one thing about StreamYard is I cannot control where y'all pictures pop up. I have no control over that. So she lost her second place. But anyway, we got Music Maker, aka D. Desandra D. Shoot, you was talking about me sleeping. I'm gonna call you by your name. And then next to D, he's been MIA for a minute, but it looks like he's back with us. We got Chippity Chop, aka Mike Harris. What's going on, panel, man? How are y'all doing tonight, I should say?
Yeah, you notice he left me last, right?
Okay, let me state this again. I have no control. I'm gonna say this again because I literally just said this. I cannot sit here. The only thing, look, I can't even control where I am. StreamYard automatically puts me first because it's my stream, I guess. So just please know that I have no control. I guess I have somewhat control if I take all of you out and then I click you in a certain order. I guess I could do that. Like I could literally pull all of you out and I say, well, let me click Ron first. If I click Ron first, then yeah, you will pop up next to me. And then I guess I do have control, but I'll have to pull all of you out.
And that sounds like MySpace. MySpace, when you remember when you got friends, you could load them up first, second, and third. Then you make some people mad because they ain't first or second on your list.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Right, exactly. But with MySpace, you could control that though. Yeah, but whoever you had number one, that was like a big deal though. I remember that. and if you used to be number one, and all of a sudden you go to someone's page and you number two, you'd be sitting like,
right, you kind of salty.
Like, why am I there?
Do they still have MySpace? God.
Yeah, it's still there,
but I don't think anybody really
nobody uses that anymore. It's like, all right, but it is still there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey Jazz, if you don't mind, I wanted to chime in something that somebody just asked you a few minutes ago.
Sure, go ahead. Definitely.
Don't, as far as talk music goes, do not believe what you see on YouTube. There is no secret to talk music.
except don't do this. Just don't do that.
Right.
If he's trying to sell, that's about the only secret.
I know some of these guys are selling videos and selling clips of how to play talk music. There is no secret on how to play talk music. It's just pretty much what you play, as long as it's not busy, as long as there's space in between it, and as long as it's not loud. There is no secret. You could take a song and you could turn it into talk music.
You take One Minute by Boys II Men.
Isn't that like one note in it?
And just play it real soft.
Yep, that's it.
They don't even know. I'm literally playing the chords on bended knee right now.
That's
But
it.
if you play it real soft, and then you go,
Right.
I promise you, I'm playing, darling, I can't explain. I'm playing it. Where did we lose our way? Girl, it's driving me insane. See? You know what I'm saying? So just don't start singing it. Don't start singing it, and you'll be straight.
Yeah, there's no secret to it. So don't believe the hype on YouTube that there's a secret to talk music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real. Just keep it soft and don't. As he's saying, yes, I feel God pushing someone to come up here and give their life for Christ. That's the only secret. That's the only. Don't do that.
It's not a Holy Ghost shout.
I mean, it's Holy Ghost. It's just, but you're not supposed to be shouting right there.
Right.
I don't know who Kenny Kirkland is, but someone says that you have a uncanny resemblance.
Uncanny.
Yeah, I have to check him out. Let's see if I can pull
I
up.
have to check them out. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can pull up a picture, I'll put it up now, and we can do it side by side right now.
I don't know. Somebody at work told me I look like Tom Joyner. I was like, wow, do I look at old?
No, you don't look like no Tom Joyner. Now, I tell you one thing, Chaz Jazz, who comes on here sometimes, now he look like Bobby Brown. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he does.
I'm talking about the way Bobby looks now. He looked like Bobby Brown the way he looks now. Oh, snap. Wait a minute, yo. He might have a point here. All right, hold up. Let me share this. Let me share this picture. Hold on. Share the screen. He might have a point, Ron. He might have a point. Yo. Hold up. Let me
second picture. That one, the second picture.
Like
that
this
one. No. Go up. That one.
You know what? Dude is right. Hands down. He's right. You gotta make this bigger.
I might have to check his cat out. I'm not real familiar with him.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at both of y'all. I'm like, yo.
So that might be my new name tomorrow.
That's it. We're gonna be joined tomorrow by Kenny Kirkland. Y'all gonna think it's really him because y'all look the same anyway.
That's funny.
Dev White, I'm glad that you enjoyed that. Thank you, Kenny Kirkland and Brent Pianos. Okay. Yeah, that was good. But anyway, man, so it's good to have y'all on here.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I'm assuming that all of y'all watched that Clark Sisters movie.
Before we get into the Clark Sisters, I want to say Mayoli jinxed me when he sent that video.
The drummer. Oh yeah. Hey Mayoli, she got something to tell you because she already told me what happened. Go ahead.
So Sunday, I was at church and we was doing Todd Dunley, Victory Belongs to Jesus. And I'm trying to give a drummer a little chance to, go on and do your thing. So, I stopped, he stopped. I went,
You went
and then when I done that, I remember the video. I said, Lord.
I knew you was gonna eventually go there.
If you're wondering what video we are referring to, I'm not gonna get a copyright on this, so I'll play it again real quick. What you have to do is please. You see this gentleman right? Oh, hold up. You see this guy right here? This is, I think, the keyboard player. I guess the music director, right? Pay attention to what he does and what the drummer do, or should I say, don't do. I just pay attention. Here we go. Look at him staring him down like, will you stop? He giving him that look like, you idiot. And the drummer look like he's trying to laugh it off, bend over like he's laughing it off. Take a look at it one more time. Make sure you see it. Pay attention to the director. You said stop, and the drummer's still going. And he looking at, he's staring at him. Yo. Oh yeah, that video is
Hey,
called "When the Drummer Won't Listen."
so I don't know. Oh, so they're singing Jesus Promise, but he was playing a whole different beat than what they was what the song was. He was a good drummer, but he was playing a whole different beat.
So yeah, so I was like, thanks a lot, Mayo Lee.
After you made me share that video, it happened to her this past Sunday, and she
This
had to
past
give that
Sunday.
same.
And I looked at Blake. He playing.
Yeah, so
done.
he had to give the evil look. Yes, she had to give the evil look.
Yes, I had
All
to
right.
give the evil look.
Like, you idiot! Don't you know we're streaming this live, fool?
Yeah, I'm trying to give you some little give you some little hang time in there, and I stopped going, and I went.
Cut it off.
I was following you. You weren't following me. I told you to keep going.
Just because I stopped, I want you to keep going. And he just come stop right in the middle. I abruptly when I did, God.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right.
thanks a lot, Mayoli, for putting that on me.
So I'm assuming that I don't know if Mike's seen it, but the rest of y'all saw the movie, The Clark Sisters. You ain't see it, Ron?
Nope.
All you gotta do is use your Lifetime app, man.
Yeah, I'm watching tonight. I fell asleep last night. I had a bad headache.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I'm gonna watch it tonight because I'm off tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, it's ooh,
I'm gonna
listen,
tell you the part
I knew nothing about this story. I knew
Really?
nothing about it. I mean, I knew Maddie Mars Clark was their mama, and she taught them everything, and that they sang like they some singing girls. That's probably all I know.
But you know what I liked? I liked that part when she threw that shoe.
Oh yeah, that was at the beginning of the movie.
I like it. I like it already.
But chewing that gum.
It was towards the beginning. It was like, yo, this girl was like chewing like ridiculously. So Maddie Moss, she come up in there, and the girls in the choir. I mean, chewing like that, and she off key, and she off key. Man, Maddie went down. She took off her shoe and just. That was
Spit your gum out. Spit it out. Spit it out right now.
Right.
Do you got that gum chewer?
She got her real good, man. That's towards the beginning too. That's not even deep into the movie, so you'll see that maybe within the first 10 minutes, maybe, I guess, something like that. It'll be early in the movie when she did that. But oh man, that was. But I mean, Maddie Moss Clark was borderline Joe Jackson.
Yeah,
I was gonna say. I heard she was rough.
Yeah, man, she borderline Joe Jackson, man. I was like, whoa. I guess I wasn't that surprised. It's something. Well, what? Y'all can explain this to me. Why does it seem like the most talented people usually have some type of slave driver? The ones that do it the best, they got some type of slave driver behind them, man. What is it about that, man?
Because talented people, they want perfection. You know what I'm saying? Whether they live it through themselves or they live it through their kids.
Right. Joe Jackson wanted to be a musician, right? He had
Right.
his little bands and everything, but he wasn't his son. That's his son's.
Yeah.
You put it that way. But,
he probably exceeded his expectations. I'm sure.
no doubt.
But you know what is parenting like that I think that we are lacking today. You know, parents like that push their kids, to be something. They wanted them to be more than their surroundings. So I kind of understand it. I think we kind of lack, and parents like that was involved in their kids' life. They knew what was going on, and a lot of parents these days, they don't really know what's going on in their kids' lives because the kids hung up on the video game and stuff. And for me, I don't understand the video game system. I stopped after Nintendo when they came out with more buttons. So I just like a B, a start, and select.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny you said that because I definitely went to Sega Genesis. I had the NES with the A and B. I did have a Sega Genesis, and then after the Sega Genesis, oh yeah, Nintendo 64. I did have that, and after the Nintendo 64, that was kind of it for me. And then eventually, I got the Wii, which went back down to only 2 buttons anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Which it went back down. Eventually, I got that, but yeah, you're right about that, man. I don't like a lot of buttons. Give me the Atari 2600 with one button. All you had
One
was
button.
one red button. You didn't even have to read the instruction book on how to figure out the game. All you had to do is turn the game on. What happens when I push up, down, left, right? Push the button. Okay, there we go. All right, I know how to play the game.
Hey, man, I can't even. This is no joke. We had a PlayStation, and I wanted to watch. I think it was a DVD. Man, I could not figure out how to get this thing to play a DVD. It was nuts, man.
Right, because those devices supposed to play DVDs. Right. I got you.
I'm like, how
You gotta
can
be a
anybody?
rocket scientist. You have to know all your scales and all 12 keys in order to play a DVD on a PlayStation. You gotta know all your scales. If you don't know all your scales, you ain't gonna get that DVD.
Man, I consider myself. I thought I was tech savvy, but maybe I'm not as tech savvy as I thought I was.
Nah, man, you lacking. I'm just like,
Man, I am, man. I ain't gonna lie. I don't understand it.
yeah, but it's just every time you see a biopic and it's something dealing with some great people, man. I mean, look at and like Ike Turner wasn't even Tina Turner's father. You know what I'm saying? But look at how he still was abusive to her. Well, I'm not gonna say Maddie. They didn't show Maddie Moss beating him up or anything like that. That's why I said borderline. See, Joe Jackson actually was putting hands on his. They didn't show that, but she was strict though. I mean, but she was just like, look. I mean, she did hit the one. She did hit the one daughter that got real smart with the one that kept having all the kids. And she did. Maddie gave her. She had to give her a little taste of that one. But other than that, that's the only time we saw her actually strike one of them. But
not to
I'm
let
sure
your
there was
daughter
many
come in
more.
because she was wearing pants. That was crazy.
what you say?
Not to let your daughter come in because she was wearing pants.
Yeah, that was, man. I mean, but that's how the churches was. I understand. See, I didn't grow up Pentecostal and all that stuff. I didn't grow up, so I never heard that. I've heard about these stories as an adult. Just like her daughter, it was. Matter of fact, I think she's still a nurse to this day. I don't understand how this woman is still a nurse and she's a part of the Clark sisters and still performs with them. But she's got a job as a nurse, and the uniform requires pants. Okay, so she's coming to visit, and she's already got married. She's coming to visit her mother, and she's in her uniform. She knocks on the door. Hi, Mama. Mama slams the door in her face. I'm sitting here wondering why is she slamming the door in her face? She just gave like the scene before that we saw her that she got married. Her mother seemed happy about the marriage. So I'm like, what the world happened? And then all of a sudden she came back up, and then she showed her dress and said, "Is this better?" And then she said, "Come on in." I was like, whoa, was it really like that? Maddie would not let her own daughter come into that house, and she didn't care if it was work pants.
Hey, when I was younger, I played for a Baptist church when I was starting out, and the pastor, he did not allow women to wear pants like pantsuits and stuff. I mean, he was totally against that. And then I played for a Pentecostal church one time, and this is no joke. I guess they were I guess they was doing some work, I guess, for one of the for the city. It was like a football game, basketball game, I don't remember. But they would donate money to the church based on the amount of hours that they worked. And they had a whole uniform for them to wear because I guess they were like ushers or something. Man, that pastor argued with them because of their religion. that that they need to wear dresses. They can't wear pants.
Right. Yeah, I heard it was a really big deal in a lot of those churches. But she studio said, remember, she smelled it too. Now remember why she smelled it. She smelled it, and Gerald already put the reason why. She was smelling to see you wearing pants. That means you must be smoking that reefer too. That's what that's what, that's what Maddie Moss. She was like, you wearing, and she's sitting there like, Mom, I'm wearing this because this is my work uniform. She like, I'm just you wearing pants. You must be smoking that reefer. It's like,
I love
really?
it.
She's
I love it.
working. She got a job. She got married a job. That was crazy.
It's a borderline crazy. I love it.
I can honestly say that I cannot wear a skirt or a dress. Period. That is so uncomfortable. Especially
bet.
being playing keyboard, like sitting up front. I will not wear a dress or a skirt playing.
I bet.
I am in a pantsuit or some type of pants. Period.
Right. She be like, this is not for the world to see.
Right.
Right, and God help you if you play a B3 organ.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, right. You can hide behind that, right?
And now the B3 organ, the bottom of the case doesn't have a casing. It ain't nothing but legs right there that holds the organ up.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Twinkie. I guess Twinkie probably had some looks back in the day. But
I'm sure her dress came down to her toes.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it went past her toes. I think she was tripping over that dress. But what y'all thought about Twinkie's situation though? It's like, and I mean,
Okay,
her
now which
mother,
one was that? I get them confused.
Twinkie is the one that plays the organ and piano also. We remember in the movie, I guess when Twinkie was telling her side of the movie, she was saying that her mother, she did. It was some point where it says you want to honor God or your mother or something. And she said, "I don't know the difference." You know what I'm talking about? It was like she was so she's like, I don't know the difference between honoring God and you, Mama. I don't know the difference. She's like, I don't know the difference because I think she said ever since she was 9 years old or something, 9 or 10 years old, it's like wherever Maddie went, Twinkie was there. Not even the rest of the sisters. It just Twinkie. So man, so Twinkie unleashed her story on this one. I'm sure when she was sat with the writers, man, she really told her side of it, man. It makes you feel you can feel for her. You know what I'm saying?
And the husband was like, they don't cook, they don't clean, they don't know how to cook or clean.
Right. Yeah, Maddie Moss' husband. I guess this was her second husband. I guess we never saw it. And then to find out that she was abused by her husband, who was a pastor.
Yeah.
Maddie Moss, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Like, whoa, yeah, and he was a pastor too. So that was
not surprised.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not either. Unfortunately, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not surprised either. But
and he was mad out because Maddie wouldn't go, she wouldn't be the first lady like she needed to be.
right. That's what he wanted. He was like, you always going here. And she was like, this is what pays the bills, though. What she's doing is what's she was saying that's what's paying the bills and everything. And he was just like, it was something that he was having on a Saturday or something. I can't remember what it was. And she said, I'm sorry, I can't be there. I have she was doing something. Her and Twinkie was doing something.
Now,
And
Jackie,
in the movie, that's when he
was
snapped. Yeah, in the movie, that's when he snapped and he started pounding on her.
now, but Jackie, the guy that she met, when he pushed her mama down, that would have been it for me.
Yeah, that was.
You don't push my mama down. I don't care.
When I saw that, I just knew in the movie that Twinkie was going to be like, okay, she still went with him. I mean, when that happened, I was shocked. It's like they showed up, and the way the movie showed it, it seemed like the mother had no idea she was going to move to where you are, Brandy. I think she was moving to North Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
That's what it was. And the mother knew nothing about it. They just showed up and was just like, just coming to say bye. And and remember, if you looked at the movie, her mother and Twinkie, her mother relied on Twinkie since she was 9 years old. Everywhere she went, Twinkie was there. So she's begging her, like, please don't go, whatever. And at some point, this dude that Twinkie's marrying
I mean, Jackie. Was it Jackie?
No, that was Twinkie. That was Twinkie. That was
Oh.
Twinkie. And pushed her mother down and told her, "Let's go." When he pushed her mother down, I just knew that Twinkie wasn't going to go. I just knew it. She still went. I was like, "Whoa!" But then
And
she was
then
explaining that she needed to get away from her. Twinkie was like, "Look, Mom, this is what it." I think that's where that thing came in, where she said, "I don't know the difference," or something like that. She was like, all I've done is just try to make you happy. That's it. That's all it is. This is all I know. I need to be free. I need to, and blah 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 blah. You was gonna say something, D? I'm sorry.
yeah, when they was out there and the man comes in, he's talking about you need to bring in some money. I was like, well, what are you doing?
I wanted to slap him 50 times with a steel bat when he said that.
Gonna sit there and say you need to bring some money in. I'll be like, what are you doing?
You're the husband. You moved her away from her mother and sisters where she was making money. You decided you wanted to move her to North Carolina, and now all of a sudden you tripping her. Well, you're supposed to be the great big Twinkie Clark.
Her
Yeah,
reason why
right.
that he wanted her in the first place.
Yeah,
Because of
yeah.
the money.
That's what her mother was trying to tell her, but Twinkie it was more so she just needed anyone that was willing to take her away from her mother. She was just willing to. I get it, because that's all she wanted, that break. And so even though this dude pushed her mother and everything, she still was just like, I just need I need that break. And unfortunately it turned out bad for her. But
That's like the Jackson kids. All of them wanted to get married to get away, get away from Joe.
Right, to get away from Joe. Exactly. Same thing. It's like you can really, even though the Jackson movie is like 3 parts and like what 5-6 hours long, you can almost put the movie side by side and compare it and see so much similarities. And they came up around the same time. I mean, obviously gospel music and R&B music, but they came up in the same time. The Clark sisters, late 60s, 70s. The Jackson started at the late 60s, 70s too. So it's funny to see that it was similar experience, even though one group was R&B, this is gospel, but yet they experiencing almost the exact same type of stuff. That was crazy. That was crazy to see too.
It was great, but it was a
Twinkie
good
could
movie.
thump
It was
at
really
Oregon.
Mm-hmm. What you gonna say,
Twinkie
D? Oh, go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry. I thought you. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I was just saying Twinkie could thump at Oregon though.
Oh
She
yeah,
could talk.
of course, yeah.
And
Right.
when they played the little Stevie Wonder James, dun dun.
But they said that was Master Blaster or something. They said,
yeah, Master Blast.
but because Maddie Moss Clark was really saved, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that jokingly. She really didn't listen to secular music, so she had no idea that song sounded like Master Blaster, right? And they said, "Mom, we really can sing this," because Twinkie wrote the song, right? And called the sisters over and was playing it. And one of the sisters was like, "That's like Stevie Wonder or whatever." She was like, "Whatever." So so clear. This is "You Brought the Sunshine." We're talking about "You Brought the Sunshine." She's bringing it up for the very first time to her sisters, and so then they sing it for their mother, Maddie Moss, and they don't tell her anything about it sounding like Stevie Wonder. And Maddie Moss Clark, she don't listen to secular music, so she had no idea. She's sitting there like, "Y'all going to sing that at the next show?" And they was like, "Yeah, Mama, can we sing it? We can sing it, right?" She's like, "Yeah, I guess you. Yeah, you can sing it." And they looking at each other, smiling like, and that wound up being a big hit for him. She had no clue what she was saying.
So this leads me to this question: do y'all think being sheltered like that is good? And to me, they were sheltered. Well, do you think you need to let your kids have that experience?
No, you know what? I mean, it wasn't it couldn't have been that sheltering, because you had that one daughter that literally kept having kids going out, and all that.
7.
Yeah, she had like 7 sons, and all of
she had 7 sons
out of wedlock, I believe. So it wasn't that much. There was some type of freedom there for her to be. Well, I guess she snuck out. I don't know.
I mean, but they had to sneak out, but because they kept a tight rein on them. I mean, especially being that religious, because being a PK kid like me, they be like, oh, you listening to that? You listen to that? Yeah, I listen to secular music. I guess because you're a PK kid, they just think you know,
Gospel.
yeah.
Right, right. But your question was, do you think being that sheltered? To be honest with you, I think I don't think it's good to be that sheltered because what happens is eventually what happened to Twinkie happens. You get
Mhm.
that mental breakdown, and what needs to be taught is how to handle what's out there. Instead of saying I'm going to shelter you from all this stuff, I think you need to better it's better to train them to how to deal with it than to try to keep them from it, because eventually, if they live long enough, they're going to go out in that world. And if you
Mhm.
keep them sheltered, these are adult women who are still being sheltered, and then they get out there, oh my goodness.
They're not going to be prepared for it.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like, 100% shelter like that. No, what you need to do is to instill the values, which Maddie Moss, I'm sure she instilled the Christian values in them and everything. But at some point, you're gonna have a breakdown like Twinkie did. That's all. That's my.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
the only problem.
but you see it all the time with kids that go to college. Once they go to college and live on campus and they've been
They get
sheltered all
buck
their life,
wild. They get
boy, they
buck
go
wild.
wow.
And that's why a lot of them flunk out their first year too, because they,
Yep.
they they haven't seen that side, and they go to college and they be like, whoa, whoa, and then they start missing classes and they start doing this and that. So yeah.
Yep.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and then but you're holding them back from what's really out there and what they have to be aware of and this and that. I mean, God designed you to have your own free will, but at the same time, He also designed you to be in atonement with Him. But it's up to you to go and I mean, you have to. He designed you to make your own decisions. You know, I mean, at the same time, Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice." I mean, nobody is immune to sin. So,
Right.
I mean, but you keeping them bottled up in that atmosphere, they're not going to be ready because the whole world don't live like that. And they
Right.
still have to go out in the world and make a living.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually,
Eventually, they're going to have to go out in the world and make a living. I mean, you, you got to have some balance, man. You have to have some balance.
Yeah.
it's
That's
like,
why you see a
and
lot of
it's
them getting in trouble. Mm.
yeah. I mean, look at Twinkie's situation. Twinkie was the one that probably was really making some bad decisions because she was more sheltered than anybody. Now, remember the part of the movie where she signed her publishing away so that she could have a Lincoln car. She wanted to have a nice car to drive. So she sold all of her publishing. And
Yep.
I'm saying, remember, Twinkie is the one that was sheltered more than anybody. Because even when the other girls weren't going anywhere, Twinkie went with Maddie Moss since she was 9 years old, even if the other girls weren't going. You know what I'm saying? So she sheltered more. So she's the one that's making more of the bad decisions. She sold her catalog to some record company. And so, the scene started with her driving up in the Lincoln, and she got a big smile on her face and everything. Like, yes, goes in the house and obviously tells them what happened. And of course, Maddie Moss ready to like really like she was like, do you realize? She said, this is the reason why I told you handle the group, you let me handle the business. Do you realize what you just did? She was like, you just
Wow.
ruined your future and your sister's future. And blah, blah. Maddie was like, yo, I thought she was going to hit Twinkie, to be honest with you. I thought she was going to hit her. That's how mad she
You
didn't.
should have hit her. You should have hit her.
Yeah,
You gonna sell your
I'd be
publishing
mad
for a
too.
Lincoln?
Right.
But here we go. We're looking at the one that was who was sheltered the most,
Right.
going out
Right.
here making bad, and all she could say was, they're mine songs. I wrote them. And
But they ain't your songs no
Maddie is
more
trying to
though.
get her to understand. Do you realize that basically they're not your songs anymore? Basically, number one, they're not your songs anymore. They're
done
going to
turned
make
over
all the
everything.
money off of it, and you're not. And all you have is a car. I mean,
It's a
she didn't
Lincoln
say this, but
Continental.
she's trying to get her to understand. You have a car that's not going to last. This car ain't going to last 20, 30. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and she said, but I deserve something nice. I feel I should be able to drive something. I mean, this is what how the Twinkie was depicted in the movie. And remember, all the sisters had their say on how they were predicted in the, how they was presented in the movie. So it's funny that you asked that question about being sheltered, because Twinkie was the one that was really making some of the worst decisions, I would say.
Mhm.
Well, they are. I mean, they showed. I forget what's the name of the one that had all the babies. I forget. That's the one that most people don't even remember because she wasn't in the group.
Was it Jackie?
Denise,
No.
no, it was Denise.
Denise, right? Niecy, right?
Yeah,
Denise.
Niecy.
Yeah. I mean, she probably made the worst decisions, I guess, if you're looking at from a sinning standpoint. But
I told her, I said she had 7 boys. I said, well, 7 means complete. She need to be totally done.
when all those boys was lined up, and speaking of that, who would have thought that happened at Maddie Moss' funeral?
Yeah.
Who would have thought
I
that
can't wait to see it.
man, the funerals, I'm sitting here like, and this is a true story. This is not just a movie. This isn't Tyler Perry just creating a story. Like when that funeral, I couldn't believe, and it was Denise. She was the one that had all her sons lined up, and
And how she came in there, like, and they was like, did you know she was gonna be here?
I know, right? Right, because she didn't talk to her mother anymore. You know what I'm saying? Even when her mother got sick, she didn't talk to her. So
Did Kiki play her mother?
Kiki
Kiki
did.
played her own, yeah.
Yes, she played her mother. She played Karen. And you know what? I've never seen her act before. I have to give it to her.
She did a
She
good
did a good
job.
job.
I didn't see anything wrong with her acting at all. I thought this was Karen. This is Karen Clark's shirt.
She acted just like her mama.
Right. Well, who knows her mother better than her anyway, outside of her
Yep,
husband?
that's
and mother?
true.
Right. So I mean, if that's her first time acting, yo, bravo.
Yeah,
Bravo.
she did
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
She
guess I'm
did
gonna have to
that.
watch this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too, Mike. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to catch it
I
tonight.
haven't
Mike,
seen it.
you ain't seen it
No, look, man. I don't really. I told you already. I don't really go in for this gospel stuff like that, man. I mean, I'll watch it, but I mean, like, I got other things to watch besides that, man. I'm sitting up here watching the
either. Oh yeah,
Flash.
like the Hulk.
Oh yeah, he watching the Flintstones right now, aren't you? No, sorry.
I'm watching
Hey,
the Flash. Hey, I got the Flash on, man.
Hey, after I
Trying to
take
get through all the
my
seasons of the Flash.
steroid pills, I know I'll be up, so I ain't got no choice but to watch it.
Yeah, all you got,
Steroids keep you up.
if anyone who hasn't, you take steroids, I guess you ready to work out, huh? Like,
Hey, now for my headaches, you just started me on it again, and I know I'm about to be up all night because you can't go to sleep off that stuff.
So let me just ask something real quick. You went through 9s, 11s, and 13s before you opened the panel up?
yes, we did. We did
All
the
right.
whole lesson. It was
All right.
probably over an hour. My lesson was like over an hour, man.
All right. Well, I had to go back and look at it because I thought y'all was gonna be talking about that and like going through it on the panel.
I did, dude. I like it. It was like over an hour. I spent over an hour going over that. Yeah.
What was the one that you did Saturday? What was that? Sharps and flats.
Whatever it's named. Let me see.
I
I
think
can't remember.
diminished.
You know how many videos I've done since Saturday, man? Let me see. Hold
I
on.
think it was Sus. We did Sus.
Sus and Dominant. We did Sus 2,
Dominant.
Sus 4, and Dominant 7. That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I was watching Premier and DJ Premier and RZA going at it on Instagram, man. They was getting it in.
Oh, got you. Well, yeah, I saw you uploaded a video of you DJing. That was the first time I ever seen you DJ.
Oh yeah, that's the joint I did back in when I lived in San Diego. I don't have my turntables here, man, so I can't do.
Got you.
But yeah, man. I just found that clip yesterday and put it up there.
Okay. But the funeral scene, I mean, well, I guess if you haven't figured out already, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So
Nah, come on, yeah,
even I'm
man.
telling people, I'm saying people in the chat room too. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but it was a mess. The funeral was a mess, man. It was a mess because
Oh,
of the daughter named Denise, the one that's named Denise. They called Denise. It really, it was a mess. It was
It
a mess.
sounds like they were a mess.
But it was
and
only the
Mike
one
A
that
asked a
caused
good
that made
question.
it a mess. What you say, D?
Mike A asked a good question. He said, "What is the balance to you guys?
The
What is
balance.
balance
Oh,
to you guys?"
he's referring to
The
Hmm.
secular and the spiritual.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look, you're supposed to remain spiritual. You're supposed to remain in tune with God, but you still have to know what's going on out in the world so you can handle yourself in the world. I mean, you always carry the spirit of God with you. I mean, although most so-called Christians don't do that, even though they profess that they do, but I mean, you have to be able to get along with others and so on and so forth. That's why Psalms and Proverbs is so relevant.
Hmm.
I mean, you have to have, dude. I mean, look, you still got to go out and work, which is God's mandate, thanks to Eve. And you got to deal with folks, man.
Yeah,
And
don't be so spiritual that you're disconnected from the
exactly,
world.
Right.
exactly, man. You can't be going upside everybody's head with a Bible everywhere you go.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
Take the sword with you. And
right. It's yeah. You have to work. You have to earn a living and be able to do stuff. And if you're walking around just preaching all the time, then how you going to provide for yourself? You know what I'm saying? There is a balance, and I think it's scripture to take care of yourself, take care of your family, and you gotta do what you have to do. But I think the balance she's referring to is like we were saying that the girls and the Clark sisters were just extremely they were covered and shielded from a lot of stuff and we were saying that too much. Like, I think you're saying, what is the balance? We were saying that no, they shouldn't be it was based off your question, D. You was like, the sheltered is the word you said, sheltered. I think the balance is when they're young, you train them.
yeah.
This is biblical. This is biblical. You train them the way they're supposed to go. You train them in the word, and I'm sure Maddie did that. I'm pretty sure she did that. And even their father, when they was in their life, when he was there, since he was a pastor, I would hope that he had something to do with that training too. It didn't really focus on him, so we can't say that for sure. But you train them, you pray over them. You know what I'm saying? You teach them right, and then you teach them wrong. Then eventually you have to just let them experience stuff.
Hmm.
You have to. It's like you cannot sit there and try to just protect your child from every single thing. Number one, you can't.
That's right.
You can't anyway.
I
You know
I've
what I'm
tried.
saying?
It doesn't work.
Right, right.
No.
Yeah, you can't do it. So the balance is you have to trust God. You say you want to trust God anyway. You say you trust God and you have faith. Then you want to. Then what does the Bible says? The Bible says, "Train a child, the way they should go. They won't turn from it." Right?
Mhm.
that's what
That's
it says. Yeah,
Even if they get astray, they have that still instilled
right.
within
Yep.
that they can go back.
Yep.
Right.
And they always come back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
sooner or
Especially
later
if,
they do. Sooner or
Yeah.
later they
Sooner
do
or later.
because
Yeah. Sooner or
'cause
later.
right,
Yeah.
right.
the,
If they have that initial training, if you trained them right and you did everything you could, you prayed over them, yeah, they'll come back.
And you
The,
got to
the,
set that foundation first. You set that foundation and start teaching them, like you said, the right and the wrong. And
mhm.
they're gonna experience some things, a lot of things. So, but even if they do get too far out there, the teachings that their grandmama and mama and daddy and them and stuff, you gonna eventually somewhere down the line gonna come right back to it.
And
Amen.
a lot of stuff is a lot of people just don't know. Also, a lot of things are passed down, through generations. Also, so
Mhm.
I know it's being a parent. You realize that there is no right way. When as you get older, you realize there is no wrong way either. So a lot of things that we do as parents is passed down from my parents, whether it was right or whether it was wrong. I don't think that I don't know if purposely, from what I hear, with the movie, I go back to Joe Jackson. I don't think he was purposely, being a monster on purpose. He was only doing what he knew to do, and
Well, he
Yeah,
even
and I
said that himself.
he did. He said,
yeah,
"This is how my father raised
This is
me."
how I was raised, you know.
That's what he
Yeah.
said.
yeah,
I
This is
mean,
how my father raised me.
it's that one part in that movie where he had them moving those bricks. What
Yeah,
did he
yeah,
tell him? He said,
right.
this number one, you're doing it for two reasons. Number
Uh-huh.
one, so you'll never forget where you
Where
come
you
from,
came from?
and number two, so so you would know where you could end up or something like
Right.
that.
That's what he said. Yeah, where you came from and where you could end up.
And
Because I think it was Jackie that said why. Because usually
yeah.
he'll tell them to move the bricks, right? They just do it. And I think it was Jackie that just said why. Joseph was like, who said that?
But you know that today's young mothers and uh, young kids today that have kids and stuff, they don't understand that type of that coming up, because see nowadays
They don't
a
know
lot of these kids a lot of these parents want to bring kids in the world to be their best friend.
Mhm.
No,
Yep.
you're not no best friend to
Well,
your child.
number one, you have that. It's a cycle. They took that stuff
Yep.
out of the schools because it used to be in school. They
Yep.
took all of that stuff, and then the government came down. It's talking about, well, now you can go to jail if you spank your kids and all
Right.
that. And now you have to look at it. The parents are afraid of the kids.
Yep.
The teachers are afraid of the school district. The school districts afraid of their funding and stuff getting pulled, and it's all a cycle. And the kids ain't scared of nobody.
They
Nope.
show
But
ain't.
you got some of these parents that wants to be their kid's best friend. Want to
Yep.
do this. No. You their parent, not their best friend. Because
Man,
you
And
start
then
treating them
act
like a
surprised.
best friend, they're gonna start treating you like a best friend.
Right.
man.
And then they act surprised when the kids disrespect them.
Yep. It's just look, I got a niece that's sitting up in here. My mom had to go upside her head. And then, she's mouthing off. She's in a room and talking about, well, she hit me and blah, 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 and this and that. I said, because you have a big mouth. Well, if I hit her back, I'd be wrong. I said, if you even think about raising your hand to my mother, I'm going to jack you up. And I didn't say jack you up. I said something else. I said, let me tell you
Right.
something.
Let me see. Is it the first note in the F major scale? Does it begin with
There
the
you
first
go.
note
Yep.
of the F
Yep.
major? Okay, that's what. Okay.
Yep. It's the F
Was it
sharp.
spelled
It's
facey?
the F sharp is what it
Oh,
is.
it was F sharp. Okay, it was
It's an
the
F
first.
sharp.
It was F sharp.
It's
Okay,
an
I
F
got
sharp.
you.
This here is an F flat.
Okay, F. Oh, that's E natural then. F flat. E
Yeah.
natural. Gotcha.
But
This here is an F
but one
sharp
thing that I
right
liked about Maddie, when one of her daughters said, "Can you watch the boys?" and Maddie was like, "I don't raise my kids," But these days you got grandparents raising the grandkids because the kids are. It's crazy.
Because
Man.
the new parents are still kids themselves.
Yeah.
At least mental. I mean, some of them by age too, but a lot of them mentally are still kids.
And
Man,
and
let me
and a
tell
lot
you,
and a lot of the grandparents do it out of guilt, also.
Yeah.
Mhm.
number one, man. I mean, like in my situation, that's why you'll see me in Columbia sometimes, and you'll see me down in Virginia at other times. That's where my grandchildren are, and their grandmother and we haven't been together in over 30 years, but now we're working together to instill, values within them. We decided to come together and, hey, well, look, we got to do this as a team here and this and that. You know what I mean? And that's what's most important, because you have to have that. You have to have that structure. You have to have that quote unquote balance, because I mean, with all of this stuff that's going on out here, I mean, you got this racism going on out here. You got this homosexuality business is running out of control. You have this, you got this political scene that's going on, man. These kids need to know about this stuff. It's one thing that our kids are not taught in school, and that's about economics, and it's about the political structure of this country. They have to know about these things, and you're not going to learn it in school. So you have to, this is what they need to know. This is what they need to know in order for them to get along in the world, And I mean, it doesn't mean you got to go upside the head. and all of that. But you have to show them what it is that they're dealing with. I take my grandkids to the mall or whatever, the Columbia Mall. I take them to the mall and like, look, you see this right here? You see all these people, they have these little stands out. You know how they have those little stands out in the middle of the mall selling them fake sunglasses and all of that crap, and the jewelry and the cell phone cases and all of that. You know, and I tell them all of this stuff is, you know, they glitz it up and they glam it up for you. You know what I mean? But now let's take a closer look at what it is. How many black people do you see that have any of these stands? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, even, you know, even going to get something to eat. My grandson, he's always wanting to go and get sneakers, and then he wants to get something to eat from the thingamajig, from the little, you know how they have the little food court in the mall.
Yeah, the food court.
He always wants to go over there, and then, you know, and them hippie skippy people are always there, and you know, it just hurry up and buy. Wait a minute, no. You're gonna earn this dollar right here. My grandson asks you for something, you get it for him. It's as simple as that.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you a question. Since you just a little bit older than me and Richard,
a lot older.
Do you? Well, I wasn't gonna say all of that.
Remember, you revealed his age, but go. I'm sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do remember that. But do you see it? I don't know. I see a shift, especially with our people, since civil rights, since we've, you know, we're not segregated anymore. It seems like there's been a shift in the parenting. Do you agree with that?
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, look. First of all, in the civil rights era, those people marched. Those people went on the front lines, and a lot of them died for us to have the rights that we do today, that we don't use. So what did they do? First of all, they took our leaders away. They took Malcolm X out. They took Dr. King out. There's been no replacement for them. So that's where the structure has failed. We got through the 70s. After those people were bumped off, then you had the hippie movement and all that stuff with the drugs and all that. And then we got through the 70s, you know. Then the mafia came in, and then this disco stuff came in. And then that's where this homosexuality and all this perversion and stuff started coming in, you know. After that, the 80s come in, and then Reagan comes in. Now you have the crack epidemic.
I agree with that.
You know?
Yeah.
And the structure has broken down. Anytime we come together or try to come together as a people and as a collective unit like any other race, there's always some kind of scheme to knock it down. By the time the 90s rolled around, like the 80s and the 90s, in hip-hop music, hip-hop was the big thing. It was a big thing. And then they started getting socially aware and socially conscious. Mm-hmm. So what did they say? Well, now let's put the gangsters in it now. Let's put them in it, and let's let them start making songs about how it's okay to shoot each other up and do this and do that and do the other thing. And then they bumped off the two big names who were doing that. Tupac is gone. Biggie Smalls is gone. You know, Public Enemy and all of those other groups who were, you know, showing us how to be proud of our heritage and, you know, how to stand up. Those guys are obsolete now. Now we have clowns and we have puppets and we have idiots who are out here making these crappy songs, and you know, and they're buying into that stuff. It's like the more ignorant it is, the more we're going to promote it.
Yeah.
The more we're going to put it out there, because we can't have these black people come together and, you know, bind together. We cannot have them having togetherness, man. And this is one thing that our people have to understand. And I hope that everybody who is on this, not only on the panel, but who are also in the chat room, listen to me really good. You have to understand your power and your vote. Look at what's happening in the world. We have so much power, and we never, ever, ever come together and use it. Whether you gospel, whether you jazz, whether you R&B, whether you're blues, whether you're honky tonk, you know, we still have to come together. And this is what has been missing: the family values and the structure that those people who have marched and died for us, who have went before us in the 50s and the 60s, we have to come together. And what we need to do is we need to honor those people and the sacrifices that they have made. And we are not doing that. We're sitting down as just so long as we can get some money and we can get some Jordans, and we can get rims, and just make us look good. We're cool.
So, because to me it seems like we've got that mentality of we have overcome, but really we have not, overcome. The only difference is now that we're able to go into, go in the front and not have to go through the back.
Right.
Bruh.
It's
I
like we
mean,
overcome, but we really haven't overcome. If you really
Right.
deep into it, if you look deeply into it, you'll see
we
that.
haven't overcome anything. Just like
Yeah.
Adam Clayton Powell. I don't know if anybody's watched The Godfather of Harlem. It's just what he was saying. You could sit here and you could go through all of this and you can go through all of that, but what good is it for you to fight and die for all these rights to sit at some counter, but you don't have $1 for a sandwich?
That's true.
And
That's very true.
And I mean that's what Martin Luther King was doing. That's why he organized that Poor People's March before he was assassinated. That's what he was trying to do. See, Martin Luther King started talking about taking your economic power back.
That was the real reason why he was murdered.
Exactly.
That's the real reason why he was murdered.
He was talking about that, and he was talking about those black kids going over there to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And whatnot. He
that was
coming out of the Vietnam War, and when he started talking about taking your economic power back, I mean, there's a video. There's a video on YouTube. There's a video on YouTube, and I mean, he made a huge speech about it. He was talking about everything that they did. He was talking about the economic structure.
Yes, he was.
Okay, you have to understand, since they freed the slaves, we were allowed to do whatever we want to do, but our economic power is 1.3 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars annually. Black people. We're not talking about the other money. We're talking about black. That's 1.3 trillion dollars. Okay, that will enable us to, if we had our own country. If all blacks had their own country with that kind of money, it would make us the 9th richest country in the world. And that's what America thrives off of. If you just look at it this way, if every black person took every dollar that they made and took it off the table, they didn't go to Walmart, they didn't go to this place, or they didn't go to that place, or they didn't go to the other place to buy stuff, and just held on to our money, this country was shut down. It was shut down, Stop patronizing.
Be sending out their stimulus checks fast.
Yeah,
exactly.
Got mine today, man. I woke up and it was in my account. I was like, "Whoa, check this out."
But see, at the end of the day, you're going to have to give that back next year. Okay, let's say you make $4,000 next year in income tax. Okay, 1,200 of that right off the top, that's out because they gave you that.
Really?
I personally don't care if I get one of those checks. I couldn't care less.
I honestly didn't think I was going to get it because I thought it was something you had to sign up to do to get it. I wasn't pursuing it. What happened is the guy who did my taxes texted me this morning and said, "Check your account and see if you got your check." And then I just went into the account and it was there. I did nothing for it. I didn't nothing. It just showed up. So I'm like, well, okay, cool.
But it's still coming with loopholes. It's coming with loopholes, man. You're gonna have to pay that back. Why they just had a thing on the news today about this fool. He's stopping the check so that he can have his name put on these checks. Why? Why are you messing up now he wants to mess up the post office flow. Have you seen that? He wants to mess up the flow of the post office. You want to know why? Because if this pandemic keeps going on and we're still sitting in the house come November, when it's time to vote, you can't mail in your ballots because now he just screwed up the postal system.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to
we just got ballots in the mail today, man. Yeah, I just got some mail-in stuff today. I'm in the mail today. Yeah, that's right. I guess are they not opening up the polls at all? Everyone has to mail them in.
Those people in Wisconsin last week, they were out there with masks on. They wanted to make sure that they voted in their primary.
Oh, okay. so the polls are still open.
Well, it was last week. But
all I know is that today I got some mail-in stuff. Who's to send in my poll?
Well, man, if you're not registered, and again, everybody who's watching this, if you are not registered, get online, get registered, and let's vote this bastard out of there. Excuse my French. He has got to go, man. He has got to go. And it's very important. It is very important for us to come together. We got a job to do. We have a job to do.
This is a man that says that he done more for Christianity than God.
I mean, like,
he
are
said
you
that in
serious?
God.
He
Oh wow, I
actually,
didn't hear him
he
say that.
actually said that. Yeah, he
Wow.
actually said that. Like, you guys, I'm telling you, man, this guy's gonna lead us into Armageddon, man. If we keep this man in the White House, I'm telling you, this man is running this country like the Jerry Springer show.
Yeah.
Man,
Didn't take
You're
that
right.
way,
a
but
long
yeah.
time. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and it was some senator. I don't know if it was a senator or it was somebody had it on Facebook that he said uh that they was the one that controlled this virus. They was the one that's getting rid of it, not God. I said, oh man, y'all done, you done really messed up.
Let me tell
Well,
you
there
something.
might be some truth to that because they was the ones that put it out there. So there might be some truth to that because I do think the government, and I think they're using the 5G. They're using all whatever that I think whatever technology they're testing it out now to see the effects. So they
Bruh.
probably are using the 5G. It's probably whatever they're doing, and this is the test right now. We're going through to okay, we're going to do this now, and we'll see what happens. And we get to do some population control because we're going to lose a whole lot of people over it, which is what they want.
Well,
They
I tell you what, let's let him get it. Let's let him and his cabinet get it. Okay, let's let all of them get struck with this virus.
He already has the
Pass
protection
things.
against it. Come on now, remember the government released it, so he already has protection from it. But
I mean,
anyway,
come on, man.
I ain't know we was going to get political. We were supposed to be talking about.
Well, it was. I mean, it started with family values, but this is what we're talking about. I mean, like, look, you have to be ready for this kind of thing. That this is what's going on in the world, and you have to be ready with this kind of stuff because see, they don't teach you this in the Bible. Okay, I mean, it's going to come back around to that, yes, and you'll be armed and prepared for that. But at the end of the day, you have to know what's going on in the world. And I mean, you were talking about the Clark sisters. Okay, well, hey, look at what they got themselves into. From what I'm hearing y'all say, I haven't seen the movie.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah,
but,
we was talking about the stuff that they went through because most of us are musicians. You know, we're whatever. And I wanted to see. I think that story, the story. We can all learn from it. By us being musicians too. What's your opinion, Ron, D, or
Yep.
Brandy? Because I know Mike, you haven't seen it yet. On the scene when Maddie Moss Clark had to face the I guess those were the bishops, I guess. And they
Yeah.
told her they told her that she either because what happened is that the Clark sisters performed at the Grammys, right? And Maddie Moss was up there with her. And the bishops, so I guess I'm assuming it was the bishops, they didn't like that, and they told her, you got to give up your position or whatever, and you never can perform with your daughters again. It was a crazy scenario. That's why, Ron, you didn't see it either. But Brandy,
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I've heard of
Mhm.
I've heard and seen of situations like that. They must have
Right.
been Pentecostal then, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this,
that's what I didn't I guess I missed that part because I just know that she was in front of them and they set her down or
yeah.
whatever,
Okay.
but I didn't know what for.
Okay. What happened is that the Clark sisters was invited to perform for the Grammys. Okay. And Maddie Marsh Clark joined them on stage for that Grammy performance. And so the bishops was like basically telling her, you gone too far going onto this worldly television, going onto the worldly stage and you up there dancing with all these to all these worldly people and blah 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 this and blah 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 that. And they was telling her that we're sitting you down. And they was like, and you gonna have to choose, like you can't perform with your daughters anymore if you care about your position with us, with the church and everything. And basically she came at them saying something to the fact that I thought we were supposed to go out into the world and hold on for a second. Hold on for 1 second. Said that I thought we were supposed to go out in the world and preach the gospel. You're supposed to spread the gospel to whomever. And she said that's exactly what I'm doing. Well, why don't y'all understand that? And they basically did not agree. with that. What's your thoughts on that?
Me, I think for me, I think that's just great. But once again, those Kojic, whatever you want to, whatever. That's what gets me. I mean, they act like that they have never made those type of mistakes, or been out there that they don't all of a sudden turn holy, and now here they go.
Right.
It's I don't know. That
Sometimes with churches, sometimes they just take it way too far.
yeah,
Sometimes any too much of anything is bad for you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes too much church could be bad for you. Also, it is not the Bible that does it, but sometimes you just have these radical Christians, just like you have radical Muslims also, and sometimes they just take it too far.
yeah.
And and
What about
and
you, Brandy?
Like,
Somebody asked, can we talk about the aliens now?
I didn't
don't get
see
me
any
started
aliens.
on that one.
I didn't see any aliens in the Clark Sisters movie. What you talking about?
So, Brandy, what about you? What's your thoughts on it?
like with that situation right there, when I seen that, like it really like taking me off. I really want to say something else, but it took me off.
Did it
Okay.
start with the first letter of the F sharp major scale?
Oh no, what's the other one? Oh,
The E scale?
it's the P word.
Oh,
But
okay. I don't know about the P scale. What's those notes? P. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
keep on.
What to do? It phased you off?
But that, yes. And it was like, why would you want to kick somebody off just being on the show at the Grammys at that one time and being with your family doing that? Like, that's crazy. That's like, God rest her soul, my mom. I used to perform with her all the time. If I had some big deal, I would want my mother there too. But for those bishops being out high and mighty, I think that was a crazy, crazy thing to do to kick somebody off.
And it's
For
still happening today.
yes, it really is. It really
Yeah.
is, and I feel like it's not right. I
Yeah,
really feel like that is totally not right
yeah,
at
I
all.
agree. I
and and
agree.
that's and that's and that's mental, and that is, I call it spiritual abuse, where people try to use the Bible as a way to control you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So some of these denominations, that's what they do. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
Bible itself. It's the bylaws that they have apart from the Bible. Also, when they think by doing that, they can control people.
Let me just
I'm
say this,
all Go
Brian. Hold
ahead.
on, real second, real quick. There's a couple of questions coming in the comments section. The portion where I did the music theory lesson is probably it was within the first hour and 10 minutes of the live stream. We're talking about different things, so I'm not really taking questions about theory right now. If you want to see the information that I talked about, I spent over an hour with the situation with the chords and different things. That was at the beginning of the stream. So once the stream is over with, feel free, when YouTube posts it back up, to check out the beginning of it. But right now we're talking about, for those of you who just came in, we're kind of going over the Clark Sister movie that aired last week on Lifetime, or this past weekend, I should say. So that's what we're talking about. All right. Sorry, Ron. I just wanted to throw that in because I saw a couple of questions
No,
coming up
that's
about that.
cool.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, that
It's not on
yeah,
Netflix.
that's cool.
No, it's Lifetime. It's on
Oh, I don't have Lifetime, so I won't be seeing this until
Okay.
probably like a couple months from now. If
You
we
got a
still
fire
here.
stick?
Yeah, but I ain't messing.
Look, we're going to teach you how to use the illegal means to watch this Christian movie. This movie about these Christian women. We're going to teach you how to do it illegally. That's right.
Aretha Franklin was brought up like that too.
Oh, her father was something else. That's all I got to say. He
I
was
don't know
something
Aretha's
else.
story either. I don't know her story, but I'm sure it's an interesting story. But they're working on a movie for that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on that. Okay.
I know they got one with Salt and Pepper coming out.
I remember
Oh,
hearing about
really?
Pepper talking about. Yeah, I think I heard them saying something that at least I've heard them say. I mean, even Drew Hill said that they once their unsung went off the air, like came on. Even they said that they've been approached. They said the only people who haven't signed off is Jazz, I think, and Woody, Jazz and Woody. So I mean,
And then they got another story with Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina. And they
Oh
come out.
no,
Another?
really?
they,
Come
Oh,
on,
it's
Yeah,
man.
dang.
They already got multiple Whitney stuff out there. They
I
got
know.
Right.
Bobby, and then they even have one for Bobby Christina. It's either TV1 or BET. They did one for her. Goodness, will they just let them rust?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
This.
It's more of the background on how coincidence how they died or something. That's what
See,
I got out of
again, no, they want to put their stuff out. Like, see, I told you. See, we put them out there. We made them famous, and we did this. And look at what they did. Look at what they did. See,
it.
see.
Yeah.
That's all that is, man. Come on, come
All
on.
right,
I can't
sounds
wait.
like
I can't
somebody
wait for
wanting
the
to
R.
make
Kelly
money off the
special to come
dead.
out. I can't wait for the R. Kelly movie to come out.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's
I
coming.
don't. They might be too scared to touch that movie. I don't know. They might be too. You know, they might say we better not mess with that one. I don't know.
I
Because
don't
Give
I
me
know
mean,
a
about
few
that.
years. Give me a
because
few
I mean, look
years.
at all the stuff that they're going to have to depict in that movie. If
And
they want to accurately tell what happened, there's a lot of shady stuff that will have to be depicted. And if you're not going to tell the story correctly, just don't do it. And I don't,
uh,
and I'm not even saying do this because it's some stuff I don't want to see that stuff depicted. To be honest
Yeah.
with you,
and look, if they
so
can perform
I'd rather you
exorcisms on the Grammys, if they can perform exorcisms on the Grammys, they'll find a way to make that movie count. Trust me.
One thing we learned from watching the R. Kelly survivor stories on Lifetime, his brothers don't mind telling on him.
Nope. Yeah. Nope, they sure don't. Yeah, because they was up in there just rolling and snitching and everything.
And they and it was just crazy. Yeah, I always like older women, but Robert, he was always into young girls.
Yeah,
It's like
sure.
this is your
Yes,
brother, dude.
yes, yes. One of his brothers, yeah, the brother did say that. I was
Them
in the
boys,
room, yo,
them boys that went,
yo. I'm saying, oh, you know what the I honestly was saying, how much money did they give you, man? Because
Right,
it's like either you making it up and you just saying what they're telling you to say, or they just say, look, tell the truth and we'll give you an extra $100,000.
they
Because
don't
I'm
want
right.
to
just
And
Michael Jackson
and
on
his
him,
brother
man.
was in prison. His brother was in prison
right
selling on him
in the prison. That's
in the
right.
prison.
The interview that dude, his brother was it. Oh, yo,
They don't
just
want
I
the
can
Toya
they said,
Jackson
look,
on her
man, we'll
own
give you
brother,
early
man.
release. They didn't even have to offer him money. They said, look, man, we'll give you some early release. If you go
Right,
to the penitentiary, they say, well, what? I can get out of jail tomorrow? Yeah, he used to like look younger girls. Yup, and he
right.
did this and he did that. You said I get out tomorrow, right? Okay, yeah. And he used to do that. Dude,
But when he was doing that, the first thing I thought, I said, man, I said either R. Kelly didn't give him some money for something, or either he just stopped. Well, no, he
they
actually,
offered him something. That's all.
yeah, I think the other brother said he hadn't talked to him because they was trying to convince the older brother when the tapes first came out to say that it was him, not R. Kelly. He was like, I'm not doing that.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I think this is someone said that R. Kelly was trying to get one of his brothers to say it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you goofy.
Which this brings me to another question. Now let's say that we was working for somebody that who was out there that's pretty in the industry, and everybody is working, getting paid, and you actually see something like that. Would y'all continue to do that, or will y'all be like, oh no, I ain't being a part of this?
No, if I actually see the stuff that R. Kelly was accused of, and I actually see it, I don't think I have the stomach to
Me, yeah.
continue. I just don't think I'll be able to do that. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I don't see myself being able to do that.
Well, now that gets back to your biblical values and your
Mhm.
biblical principles.
And I'm sure that there was a lot of people that probably saw that and probably did quit. We probably didn't see them in the movies or what, in that documentary or anything. But I'm sure that there was some people that was just like, oh, never mind. No, thank you. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hey, look, it was good enough for Rick James. I guess R. Kelly said it was good enough for him too.
Mm.
Because look at like with the Tina Turner movie, how those people they knew what Ike was doing.
Mm.
They know Tina was getting beat, but you stick around. I mean, the
No,
money can't be all that good.
it's not like an excuse or anything, but Tina was an adult though. With
Right.
R. Kelly, we're talking about 12, 13, 14-year-olds. So
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like with anybody. I'm with either Tina Turner or people like R. Kelly. Just if you just in a, somebody just don't have to be like specifically R. Kelly. If you was working for somebody and you seen this happening or somebody abusing their spouse or messing with young kids, as people as their entourage, I guess, would you still be a part of that?
Hey, but I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that happens a whole lot in our communities, that
Mm-hmm.
we do the same thing. Don't you tell nobody, don't you talk. What happens in this house stays in this
this
house.
house, yeah.
And that's just part of that mentality. And then too, you got people also. R. Kelly is the only way that they paying their bills and they eating also. So
Right.
it's
Well, I
Right.
mean,
crazy.
I think at that point I would just have to go to the unemployment line, stand in line, and find something else because I
Yeah.
can't do it. But I know a lot
Yeah.
of them look away because of the money, because the money is
Of
good and they
course,
get
of course. The money, the love of money is the root of
root
evil.
of all
Notice I
evil.
said the
Yes.
Yep.
love of it. Notice I said the love of it. That when you love it that much that you can look
Hmm.
away and act like you don't see this other stuff that's going on, yeah, it's definitely some evil going on.
Ba-dum,
Hmm.
And that's
ba-dum,
all. And that's
ba-dum,
always been my
ba-dum,
problem
bum,
in life because
ba-dum,
I
bum,
speak up.
ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
What about you, Brandy?
Brandy, like I'm looking at an R. Kelly movie right now. No, sounds fine.
No, ain't nothing like that.
I know
Brandy's
that.
over there.
I
Bling,
mean, but
bling, 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 bling,
With
bling,
that
bling, bling,
situation,
bling, bling, bling.
no, with that situation, I mean, I would have to go to. I have to like at least tell somebody, and I will not work with that person no more.
yeah,
That's just me. Period.
right.
I can't deal with it.
Mm. Well,
My
guys,
thing
let me.
is when you get a job like that, with me, I would be stacking my money up. I'd be putting money away. They just get it and they just be blowing on this and that. I would put my money away.
But I mean, we still have that issue right now because it's just like the joke was said today. People got their stimulus check and they probably outspending it right now because they don't know
Right,
how to say they don't know how to, you know what I'm saying, how to take that and use that correctly. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's
I mean, they
Yep.
out now. I saw on the Facebook or something. They out buying game systems and TVs and stuff like that. Pay your bill.
I'm like
I hate
it's like
that.
some people just won't they just don't get it.
Yeah, they up there getting those Walmart rollback TVs, man.
Well, at least a rollback from Walmart
Right.
don't take the whole stimulus check though.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
But
Look, I
still,
got to get to
I,
working on
I,
this
I,
song, man. So I'm gonna get on the giddy up.
all right, chippity
All
chop.
right.
all right,
Good
All
to
right,
see
man.
you again.
Catch up to y'all later.
All right, man.
All right.
Peace. But
honest people, they get their tax refund check. They either buy new furniture or put a down payment on a new car.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I mean, why not put some of that money for a rainy day? Put it back,
Right.
I mean, because we don't know
Or
how long this gonna
or
go.
or pay your bills with it.
Right. Hello. Tide. Put your
And,
tide in
right? Ain't that it?
You know that bill that you didn't pay. How about take the money and pay your bill with it? If you not in a situation where you can store it and try to save it, then at least say, hey, well, let me pay my rent or whatever. I mean, whatever. I know with rent, people don't have to pay their rent for another 2 months or something without any. I think it's something like that that's going on. You know, while this virus is going on, but I'm sure that there's other stuff that they can do. But to be honest with you, saving it is the best thing if you're in that. If you're able to just put that to the side, save that sucker. It's like, man, but it's
Yes.
like the mind that
You got that right.
the mind of people. It's like they just got it's a hole in their pocket. It's a mentality.
Yep.
Right.
I
And
don't even
and,
know
and,
what to say about it. It's just
and look at and retailers and stuff. We're gonna start seeing more commercials now. And everybody's getting this money. Come
of
on
course
down.
because the retailers are suffering. They're
Yep.
suffering like crazy. So of course they're gonna be like, hey, we got the stimulus sale. That's gonna be called the stimulus sale. Watch.
The stimulus sale. There you go.
Uh-huh.
I wish
Yeah.
American Music Supply would run a stimulus sale.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I believe the bill that Trump signed was it 2 trillion? So you know the businesses want that 2 trillion for themselves, right? Oh, two
Right.
trillion. Okay. Hey, give it to hey, you need to come here, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy. I mean, I don't understand it. If you want to do something with it, take some of that money and invest it in something.
right.
Oh yeah, just like me. If I do get my stimulus check or whatever, I'm definitely getting my screen fixed. I'm sitting here now looking up prices. That's
Well,
important to me. That's my
all,
business.
all I know is that I woke up this morning and my tax accountant texted me and he just simply said, check your bank account. I went into the app and it was sitting there. It was labeled stimulus. It says processing. I'm like, whoa. So, and I did nothing. I didn't do anything. I wasn't sure if I was getting it or not. So,
I
and
wasn't sure if I was getting mines either, but Mama said, "Did you check your account?" I said, "No." But then when I got up, I checked. I said, "Oh, wow,
yeah, it's in there, you know. And guess what? Mine's is still in there.
mine's
I know
too."
that's right.
Mine's is
I
still
know
in
that's
there.
right.
It's about to be put somewhere else, but yeah, it's still
Yeah.
in there.
And I'm using mine's for I'm not using it to go pay it. I already know what I'm doing. I'm using it to I guess you can say, yeah, it is a bill. I'm using mine to pay a bill. So I'm like, hey,
Right? Yeah.
I'm not going up and buying anything.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything with it. I'm going to use that for
D,
bill.
we already know what you gonna spend it on.
Who?
Who?
What you talking about?
Oh, you already know.
Jazz?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I
No,
think he's talking to you.
I'm talking to Miss D.
Oh,
Miss.
Deshondra.
Yep. She already know the conversation we done had.
I don't recall that the
No, but
conversation.
whatever. We ain't gonna start up on this
Well,
live
D just
stream.
got finished spending some money on some new equipment anyway because she showed me the other day.
But see,
Exactly. That's where it's going to.
but this
That
is
was
what I
before the
do
stimulus
though.
check. That was
You know
before the
how long I save up. If it's something that I really want, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna put like 25 over here. Just kind of put money away and save up. But then I be finding deals too. So
she be like
And I can
$2.99. Oh yeah, give me that.
hey
Yeah. Oh
hey
yeah.
now
Oh, yeah.
I can understand that because you're a musician and so therefore you have to buy things in order to be a business owner. So I mean that is part of owning a business also. So I can understand spending on some equipment or something that's gonna make you money.
Oh yeah, if it's
oh
gonna
yeah.
make you money, no doubt. I mean, my thing is, I when I started doing my YouTube videos, I had a computer that I was using a Dell, and it worked fine. I'm like, I was making videos. Upgraded my videos where y'all could see the digital screen and everything. I mean, that was still on an old Dell computer I had working just fine. And then one day it just wouldn't record. To this day, and the computer still works. I have it sitting upstairs. It used to sit down here. It sits in the living room. You can still use it for regular stuff. To this day, I still don't know why. It just would not record the video anymore. And I reformatted. I said, well, let me just reformat everything. So I backed up everything, reformatted. Everything was cleaned out, and it just wouldn't record my tutorial. It's like it would record, and it would be like me doing this.
Oh, doing a robot.
Like, right, yeah. And I'm playing the piano, and it sounds. It was that's how it was, and I'm sitting here like I've been making videos with this computer for like over a year, and I'm talking about the higher quality videos with the thing. And I still to this day don't know. And I'm somewhat of a computer geek, but anyway, I'm telling this story because at that point I had earned some money in my PayPal account thanks to the tutorials and everything. And so for me, I didn't feel bad when I went into that PayPal account and said, I'm buying me a new computer. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying?
it's
Because
I
I
making you
know what's
needed
money.
right.
that to make more money, to earn more
Right.
money. You know what I'm saying? And I would say, like, within a 3-month period of me buying this computer that I have right now, I earned the money back that I spent on it. Like it
Right.
was less than 3 months. In
There
less than
you go.
every I already I'm like, wow, the computer already paid for itself. And remember, if
Yeah.
I didn't have this computer, I wouldn't be able to make any more videos. So it was a necessary buy, and I did not take it out of my checking account. I specifically took it out of the PayPal account. Now I transferred it to my checking account, but I went to PayPal. I transferred. I looked up the computer that I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to spend any more than this. Boom,
Right.
put it in. I transferred it over, went up to Micro Center and got myself a gaming computer. I said, I'm getting myself something that's real powerful. So I got the gaming computer. And
Yeah.
I don't use it for gaming. I only use this computer is just all I do is what you see right down here. Live streams and tutorial videos. That's all I use this computer for. And studio stuff recording. But yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
It's
nothing
just
wrong
like
with
with me, I
in
had
your
to
yeah.
I had to give up a lot of the DJ gigs away because I didn't have everything I needed. Now I got everything. I ain't about to pass nothing else up no more.
Right.
I know what's right.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there's a way to spend and buy things and do it the right way. And like I said, that was just an example for me because it's like, yeah, I needed to get a computer so that I can continue to make these videos. Still had, requests coming in. I still had requests to fulfill. But yeah,
Right.
that's one of those times where it's okay. Yeah, go ahead on and invest in your business and let it make you your money back. It made its money back. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now
but
some people just go out and just get it just to get it.
right.
That's
They're
not
just
what I do,
right, and
Brandy.
it's not making them any money. It's not making them any money.
Right. They just that's what they do.
And I'm
But
not
mine,
saying
I'm a purpose.
yeah, and I'm not saying that supposed to never buy something for just entertainment. I mean, yeah, there's some, there are times where you buy something and it doesn't have to make you money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, obviously, you know what I'm saying, but it's like I'm talking about you get $1,200 from the government, free money, at least for now. And all you can do is say, "Oh man, I'm gonna buy myself a new TV. I'm gonna get myself a new this and a new that. I'm gonna get the new Jordan." I'm sitting here like, none of that stuff is you're not gonna make any money off. All you're doing is just giving the money away. You're just giving it away.
We Yeah, we call it hood rich.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then, but you steady going around getting assistant on trying to get your rent paid or your light bill paid or your water bill paid.
Right.
What happened to the money that you got? What did you do with it?
Mhm.
Right.
So, and that's what Trinky Clark did when she sold her music rights away. Now it's fine. I'm trying to transition back to the Clark sisters movie.
Yeah, yeah, the Clark. Yeah, I mean, it was just with that too. Yeah, she was just so happy about it. And I was like, I'm like the mama actually. You sold this for this car.
But she
Are
didn't
you
understand
crazy?
what she did. That was the problem. She did not understand. She did not understand what she did. All she knew is I deserve something nice. They're my songs and blah blah. You know what I'm saying? And that goes, I say that again, that goes back to her being so sheltered
Right.
that that now that she had some freedom to go out and she had access to her money or whatever, now she didn't know what to do. So yeah. Yeah,
But
so
see,
it's
the thing is, I mean, I wouldn't have sold all of it. I mean, I might have would have took some and made it sell some to somebody else, but not my whole book.
but you gotta understand, she didn't know what she was really doing.
Right.
She
Yeah, I
truly
know.
did not know. She didn't understand it. All she knows is just like, oh wow, I can if I sign this paper, you'll give me this much money right now, and then I can get myself a nice car. Okay, that's what happened. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Part of that, I think,
Yeah,
was
sounded
probably
good.
yeah, it sounded good. And she was saying, it's like you feel for her because it's like I get it. Yeah, you want to be, um, You want to get something that you like. I get it. I understand. And she worked for it. It's not like she didn't work for, she wrote those songs or whatever. And she's just like, and I don't even have a nice car. I felt it. I felt, I understood and I felt it, but uh, oh well. So I'm trying to think, was there any other things that jumped out in that movie that just really made me go, ugh? Another scene. I guess going back to the Bishop scene, how they was trying to sit her down. If I go back to that and I, talk about it a little bit more. Hold on, let me see something. I'm trying to look at
Yeah, that was right there. I was like, I just didn't like that part right there.
Let me make this statement one more time. Preston Lloyd and anyone else. This stream is we're in the 2 hour and 44-minute mark of the stream. The beginning of the stream was all about the title of the video. We talked about 9th, 11th, and 13th chords. I spent over an hour talking about it. And so once the stream is over, you will be able to, YouTube will, what is that noise?
Maybe
YouTube,
it's wrong.
um, okay. Yeah, YouTube will, they'll post a video and you will be able to see the lesson. I spent over an hour talking about the different chords and everything. So, if you're coming late to the live stream, you'll just have to, if you want to see the lesson, I finished the lesson about an hour ago. Okay. And the lesson was an hour. It was more than an hour long. Okay. So that's why once the lesson is over, that's when we come in and then we start, just talking about other stuff. Right now, we're talking about the Clark Sisters movie, and some other stuff did pop up in between that, but we're just talking about general things right now. But yes, we did talk about the chords and everything. We did that. You just, if you missed it, then just catch the replay. Okay. Just wanted to put that out there because I see, somebody, some other people came in saying the same thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. All right. No, yeah, back with the Bishop scene and everything. It just amazes me that um I think they said obedience is better than sacrifices. I think they said that to her too. And this in the, when they said obedience is better than sacrifice, they was talking about her not performing with her daughters anymore. And I
Hmm.
thought that was cold too, because it's like, well, if obedience is better than sacrifice, the Bible says to go out and you know and tell everyone about them.
Right.
And they weren't singing an R&B song at the Grammys. They was singing one of their gospel songs. So I just don't understand why what the bishops and something. I just don't understand why they couldn't see that. But at the same time, this was the early. I'm assuming this was sometime in the early '80s, and we knew it was just a different world back then. It was
Yeah.
different. You know what I'm saying? It was different, and this was the
Yeah,
world where if a woman
but it
had
still exists today too.
it
Oh
does.
yeah.
Some of it does. Yeah, a lot of there is maybe not as much of it as it was maybe in the early '80s, but it's still around. It's still around. But that one that was hard to see. And the funeral scene was probably one of the hardest things for me to see. To see that her own daughter would basically ruin the funeral was just, I'm like, yo, this is your
And the characters in there, the actors and stuff. I mean, the mama, the one that got to play the mama looked just like their mama. I mean, you put a picture of it, so I'm like, wow, they nailed her to the T.
look, I'm gonna tell you, Lifetime has a reputation of sometimes jacking up life stories and biopics and stuff.
Hmm.
Let me tell you this. That's not the case with this one.
No, no,
With this
no.
one, they get like every thumbs up that you can give them. So it's yeah, just like she said. If you look at the real Maddie Moss Clark and you look at the actress that played her, I'm like, that is Maddie Moss Clark. She must have came
Hmm.
back from the dead to play herself in the movie, because I mean,
Hmm.
it's just like It's like don't Lifetime has screwed up. They screwed up the Aaliyah movie. They screwed up a lot of stuff, but they was right. I mean, executive producers were Mary J. Blige, Missy Elliott, and who else? I'm missing
Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah. They were the executive producers. I'm gonna tell you, they did their thing. They made sure that this movie was done right. So I want to give a clap like
Oh
Lifetime.
yeah, they did that. They
Yeah,
did that.
yeah. Thank you for not screwing this one up. And even though it's short, it's like the only complaint I got about the movie is just that it was just over too quick. That's about it. It's like
Right.
it's like you just wanted to see more, and it's like, oh man, it's over with already. But but it was very well.
Mary J. Blige is doing her thing. You remember she also done the Coretta Scott King, and also who was that? Malcolm X wife. You remember that movie she done?
Oh
No,
yeah, yeah.
It
She
was a
has
like.
done that. Yeah.
is it on Netflix?
Matter of
Is it
fact, she
on
played
Netflix?
Betty Shabazz. Not Lifetime.
Yeah. Okay, it's starting to come back to me. I must not have seen it. I must have maybe saw a preview of it. I must have not seen it because it's like there's an element that I'm like, yeah, I remember it, but then I don't remember it. But yeah, okay. Ooh, gotta take a sip.
Yeah. So that was it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, I appreciated the movie
They
on that
really
one.
done that. I mean, all the actors and actresses in there, they really did their thing. Especially Kiara. She played her mama to the T.
Yeah, but she knows her mother though.
Oh yeah.
The thing about Kiara, sure, I remember when she was a little girl, and every time you see Karen perform, you always just see this little girl, and she would like Karen would do a run, and then the little girl would do it, the same thing that she did, like, and then you do it. So she was training Kiara when Kiara was a little girl. I didn't even
But I
realize.
don't think she was just as strict like her mama was,
I doubt
to
it. I
Kiara.
doubt it. I doubt
Yeah.
it. I doubt it because she had went through it.
If not, it'd be a Lifetime movie 20 years from now.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was drinking water, but yeah, man. It was, but yeah. Overall, man, great movie. Great movie.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen it, if you have a cable subscription and you have Lifetime, then you can literally just download the Lifetime app and sign into your cable account. That's how I saw it because the movie actually aired while we were on the live stream. That's why this person wasn't on the live stream Saturday because she chose to watch over House of Jazz live stream. But now, what happened? But once I got upstairs and everything, I literally just went to the Lifetime app on my television, and boom, it was right there. So that's how I watched it like that. Oh, she giving the church finger like gotta
Yeah.
go to the bathroom. What's up?
Let me see. Not only because I was watching the Clark sisters, I didn't come on. I was going through some things at the same time. So
Oh,
don't do that because I would have been on here. I still have the beat for last week too, as well.
oh,
I
you could have sent it then. Even if you wasn't on here, you still could have sent it. What's
I
up?
was still working on it at the same
Oh,
time.
that's what the other thing she was doing. That's what you was going through.
No, I
You
was
was going through an
finalizing.
unfinished track. That's what you were going.
No, I was finalizing. I had my stuff had to be perfect, okay?
Right.
And two, for the chords for this coming up Saturday, I'm already done with it. I already done put my lyrics to it. So
Oh,
that's
you trying to? So you singing to it? Oh man.
so I got two
All
different
because I
ones.
sung that one little hook that I put on mine. Now you want to come up
No,
and be like me now?
no. That's
Distiller,
not
she's distiller.
no.
Well, I've been calling her a thief since I met her online about a year ago. Don't believe me? Look at her videos in the comment section of so many of her videos. Look for a comment from House of Jazz, and the first thing you'll see in the comment would be thief. Just go through all her videos and watch it, and you'd be like, go to the comments, say, oh, look at that House of Jazz called her a thief. Go to that. Oh, that's all I do is call her a thief. But go ahead, Brandy. Go ahead. I miss
Anyway, see, See, you wait till I come up to Baltimore.
Oh no,
What
yeah,
part?
Baltimore is south from you. Remember that Baltimore is south from where you are. So yeah, travel south
What?
to Baltimore.
Whatever. Anywho, I don't put my legs, and so I have two separate files of it. So the one I'll be putting on for the challenge will be without my chorus in it or whatever the case, and I have the other file with my vocals. Thank you very much. So I have
But
been
you didn't
working.
add me to it. You want to add me to everything else, and you don't never add me to one.
Look here, we're not about to go. We're not about to go back and forth on this right now, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I
You know
felt
I
I
got to
felt
mess
the
with
need of
you
the Holy
sometimes.
Ghost. I felt the need of the Holy Ghost to come in and and everybody know that bass line. Got to put that bass line up in there. That's it. That's all
That's
people.
what's gonna make it.
Look, they don't even care about the chords. They don't care as long as they hear that.
Pretty much.
That's all they want to hear.
Said they don't even care about the chords.
They don't care about the chord. All they want to hear is. I mean, they want to hear maybe one hit. That's about it.
Mhm.
Maybe one hit. That's all you gotta give them is like.
Hey, there they go. Buck jump,
especially
slide across the floor.
especially if the bass, if there's a bass guitar player really playing that, boom, boom, and it's like they know what they're doing. That's it, yo. It's
Oh
done.
man.
Yeah,
It's
you ain't
done.
got to do nothing then.
You can get up and shout yourself. Oh, I don't need to play this keyboard. Let me get up and shout.
Right.
All right, man. Well, it seems like the conversation is starting to die down, so I'm going to go ahead on and instead of us just sitting here trying to make up stuff, I'm just going to just say, hey, we had a good evening. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes. I appreciate everyone joining us. And then the step up. Oh yeah. Oh, he's talking about the shout 112 DZ. But hopefully, for those of you that joined us late, I'll say this one more time before I get offline. I spent over an hour going over the theory lesson concerning major 9, 11, and 13th chords. Okay, so the information is on this video. I'm getting ready to I'm about to end it now. We're going to end it now. Give YouTube whatever they got to do to process it, and then you just check out the beginning of the stream. And there's a lot of good information. I talked about which notes you can remove from the chord, and it still will be considered that chord. We talked about how to turn all of those chords into dominant chords, how to get a dominant 9, dominant 11, dominant 13th. And we did, I think, a couple of scales too. We did a couple of scales. We did it in a couple of keys. So it's very informative. So if you really need some help with that, definitely check that out. We should be back. We will be back tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. I don't know exactly what the topic is going to be, but it's going to definitely build right off of what I did tonight, though. I just have to sit down and be like, well, what would be the smart thing? What I'm thinking about doing is probably throwing in half diminished chords, which is also known as flat fives, and start talking about like sharp 11 and stuff like that. So it'll be something like that. But you'll see it tomorrow. You'll get the notification. You'll see the title of the video and all that good stuff. So make sure you join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, I bid all of you good night. Peace.